everybody. It's episode 315 of PodQuest.
Hey. I am over encumbered in episodes of PodQuest.
You can only have 300.
I'm not done yet, guys. Hang on. It's Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020. I'm Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
And we're not.
Hi.
And yeah, so before we started recording, we were arguing about encumbrance and game mechanics, and that Richie, when Richie likes something, he discredits what I think about it.
And again,
he doesn't mean to. He definitely doesn't mean to. He's not doing it like to be a dick, but like he subconsciously does it.
And it's not as much as like I'm saying you are wrong. It is I don't get it. And my biggest I don't get is and it is games that I tend to like. But you always say I don't like how the combat feels, or I don't like how this feels. Where I'm like, any game I've played that you say you don't like how the combat feels, I'm just like, it feels like a game. Like, so that is one thing I do not get, and probably will never get. Never. Because you even, what was the game that was Monster Hunter-esque that you liked?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of what it's called anymore. Drew, you played a bunch of it too. It was free to play.
Oh, fuck.
I can't remember, but you sat there and you said you liked it, you enjoyed how it felt good. I sat there, I played it, and I'm like, this feels just like Monster Hunter.
So, in Monster Hunter, to me, specifically to me, I know you have a different opinion. The handful of weapons I've tried, they all feel very, like, non-committal, is probably the best word I can think of right now. Like, you attack something, and it doesn't really feel like you're hitting it. And, like, in some cases, you kind of hit through the enemy.
Yes, that is my complaint, at least with the handful of hours I put into the last Monster Hunter beta. Like, just the way the hit detection on the weapons just doesn't feel right.
And so, real quick, that game, Richie, was called Dauntless.
That's, yeah. I knew it was with a T.
I wouldn't say I liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. I played it twice and have never touched it again. But I thought the combat to me felt better than the combat in Monster Hunter. And
when I played it, I said, this is Monster Hunter.
But, and you know, to what you just said a few minutes ago, you don't seem to notice I'm trying to think of the right way to put this, because I don't mean it as an insult to you, so don't take it that way. You don't seem to, like, pick up on, like, differences in combat. Like, obviously you know the difference between, like, you know, God of War and Monster Hunter. Like, I'm not saying it like that. But, like, to you, it just seems like combat's combat. Like, if you're swinging a sword, you're swinging a sword. If you're shooting a gun, you're shooting a gun.
Yeah.
Whereas,
like, whenever you said that Destiny it felt like a great shooter, I was like, Destiny is a shooter. I get the same feeling when I'm playing Destiny that is when I'm playing Apex, is when I'm playing Call of Duty. Like,
those are
so Apex and Call of Duty are also those are probably the three best in their class.
But that's my point though. Like, you always say you hate shooters, but you liked Destiny because Destiny felt like a good shooter, but you didn't like the whole formula of Destiny. But then I just sat there and said three really good shooters that all feel the same in my opinion.
But the thing he doesn't like about shooters is not the gameplay, it's the like the moment-to-moment gameplay of shooting a gun. It's the fact that, like, Apex is literally a 100% multiplayer-only game. Like, that's what he doesn't like.
Yeah. I have also realized over time that what I don't like in first-person shooters are, aside from multiplayer, like, which you guys know my stance on multiplayer, is I don't like the realistic stuff. So, like, there was a long period of time there where, like, and they weren't always realistic. Some of them were, like pseudo-future realistic, but, like, your Call of Duties, your, like, Army of Twos, like, things where they were more, like, military shooters.
Yeah.
I didn't like them, but then when you got your games like your BioShocks or your Halos, where they were more far-fetched, you know, you get like weird weapons or abilities, and like Destiny as well, like, I don't mind them as much. My problem with the first, like, and I mean, we both played a bunch of Destiny 2 for at least like the first patch or whatever, like neither of us played, I think, beyond any of the DLC.
No,
but like,
I only did vanilla to Destiny 2.
Yeah, so like Destiny 1 turned me off because there just wasn't enough there for me, but the shooting was good. And then Destiny 2, the shooting was still good, but there was like an actual obvious linear single player campaign that just took you from like place to place that I was able to play through and like find enjoyment in. I've I've tried, like, in the last few years, I've tried, like, I think 2 of the Call of Duties, and, like, the campaigns are fine. Like, they're nothing that I want to spend, 8 to 10 hours, I think is the average campaign length.
Probably.
But the shooting, they do very good. Whereas, like, you played Fallout 4, right?
Yeah.
Rich?
Yeah.
Like, that game shooting was bad.
I played Fallout 4, but I did not shoot in Fallout 4.
So the shooting in Fallout, like, I only played it for a little while, because I wanted to try it because, like, the setting and lore for Fallout really intrigued me. And then, like, the shooting was just really bad.
But the thing you have to think about with Fallout, at least, it's not a first-person shooter.
Oh, no, I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm just using that as, like, an example. Like, you have a really good, and because Fallout is a first-person game with guns.
Yeah.
So, like, the shooting in that feels awful. Whereas, like, the shooting in Call of Duty, I don't want to play it, but it's really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, like, there are plenty of other games like that, too, where, like, they're not, like, they're probably considered AAA games, but, like, like, honestly, I actually really enjoyed Overwatch when it first came out. The shooting in Overwatch, it was average at best. Like, you played Overwatch a bit, right, Drew?
Oh, I've played hundreds of hours of Overwatch. Like,
okay, I thought that was the case, but I wasn't sure.
It's been quite a while since I've played it, but I'm like level 2 to 300, somewhere in the 2, maybe 300s, maybe even higher than that. Like,
but like, I always got the feeling with Overwatch where like the character skills and sort of how you play them was more fun than the actual shooting. The shooting was just fine.
Yeah, like I don't particularly have any complaints about the shooting in it. It's a bit of a different style. Like, there's things about the time it takes to kill people that's different, but that's
true. Just
the style of game that Overwatch is. Like, it's basically a MOBA, but at first person in some ways. Like, it's not like an Apex Legends or Call of Duty or whatever. So it's a little different. And the fact that not every character is using, like, assault rifles or whatever. They all have different types of guns, bow and arrow or whatever. So
exactly, that's the part that kind of like kept me going back to it was, like there was plenty of variety, even if like one character felt very, very bad. The other characters were like, okay, well, this one is fun to play. It has interesting abilities. Like, it's got a cool role or something, like Lucio as like a healer. Like,
yeah,
stuff like that. Rich, did you ever get to play Overwatch?
I played maybe an hour of it tops, not much. And like, it was fun what I did play. I did enjoy it a bit, but like, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I didn't really have the best time. But it was like, that's the good thing about games like Overwatch and like Apex and like Avengers. They have multiple characters. Each character has its own playstyle. So like, you find the one you like and you stick with that one.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, to circle back around to Avengers, like, they give you a little taste of like the main cast, like, up front. And like I was saying before, like, none of it felt great, like we were saying. So like, I don't think I want to spend $60 on that. So I'm not going to. Because they're looking for that game to have longevity to it, and we'll talk about that more later. Like, but like, they're having battle passes for the DLC characters. Characters are free, but they're going to charge money for like microtransactions and like the character customization stuff that's like appearance cosmetic only.
Yeah.
So like, they obviously want that game to have legs for people to put money into it after purchasing it. So it's going to go on sale, I'm sure, rather quickly. Like, not in the next month, but I imagine by Christmas they will at least have one sale where it is under $30.
I think your hope is a little high on that one, but probably 40.
So especially with like how the economy has been, I wouldn't be surprised if Black Friday, like, even if it was only a digital sale, that they had a digital sale for 30. It might be the Xbox version. Let's be real.
True.
Yeah, it could be.
Especially with the new gen coming.
Yeah, maybe. I think this game is cross-play with new gen. I think if you have it current gen, you can play it on the new gen as well.
Well, I mean, it's definitely backwards compatible, but I know every game on each platform has been very divisive on what its upgrade options are. Like, I think it's actually the new Call of Duty. If you buy it on Xbox, maybe regardless whether it's physical or digital, you can upgrade to the next Xbox. But for PlayStation, it's like, if you buy one version digital, you can upgrade it. If you buy another version not digital, you can't upgrade it at all.
It's the other way around.
Physical, you can't. Is it the other way around?
The Xbox is the confusing one.
Okay, is it?
The PlayStation is the whatever, you can upgrade, it upgrades. But yeah.
Okay.
And like the Xbox, like one of them, like I want to say the Xbox Series X edition comes, like if you buy it physical, comes with a physical disc for the old Xbox version.
I believe that's right.
Some shit like that.
Which, sure, why not?
I've played roughly 100 hours of Overwatch, by the way.
That's a lot of hours of Overwatch.
Yeah, it is. But before we started, we were talking encumbrance and other game mechanics. Do we want to try to rehash that discussion?
Sure. I mean, like, I don't like the you're carrying too much. You are now walking slow and can't fast travel versus the Diablo style. Oh shit, your bag's full. You can't pick up anything more. Swap things out, but you still move like normal.
Actually, you know what mechanic I would actually be okay with? That would it would walk the line of like your standard encumbrance where you walk slow. You guys both took the stairs in Final Fantasy VII Remake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know how like as you're going up the stairs, like Cloud and Barrett just slowly kind of ran out of stamina, and like you just watch them get slower and slower with each flight of stairs?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I would rather see a mechanic where your movement just slowly decreases as you start to hit, like, as you hit your encumbrance and go over. So, like, say you can hold 100 pounds worth of stuff. When you hit that 100 pounds, you start walking, like, a little bit slower. Like, enough that you see it, but not enough that it actually makes the game, like, less fun to move. Mm-hmm. And then every item you pick up beyond that, you get slower and slower, like, within reason, like, and you just, until, like, you basically just don't move at all. Which, honestly, that, fucking Death Stranding kind of did that.
Yeah.
Like, the more items you had on, like, your backpack thing, like, especially early game before you got, like, the exoskeleton thing, you got slower and slower, and you were less stable and more likely to fall over than if you just had, a handful of things on you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is an encumbrance system I'd be okay with, but the whole, like, you're 1 pound over, you can't really walk anymore. Like,
that
sucks.
one apple changed your movement speed from normal to 50%.
But you're already carrying 300 pounds worth of shit. Why do you need 300 pounds worth of shit?
Sure, but no, like I do see.
Maybe drop that chair that you're carrying. Like,
I need all the wheels of cheese, though.
Eat some of those wheels of cheese and give yourself high cholesterol.
So, like, in like a game like Skyrim, which I've never played, so I'm actually relying on you guys to tell me if this would be accurate. If you're out away from, like, a place, like, you have no place to put your stuff. If you have just a bag full of stuff and you hit your encumbrance, you then have to travel back to, like, your house to, like, or, like, a town to sell stuff, right?
Right.
Yes.
Or just drop it on the ground and lose whatever it is that you had picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going to be there.
Yeah, it'll always be there.
And so like,
you can go back. You can go back and pick it up. You can find a chest near you, throw a bunch of stuff in that chest, mark it, go to your town, sell everything, drop stuff off at your house, and then go back to that chest and pick everything up if you want.
So let's say that happens in like a dungeon. Like, I remember watching you play the one time, and I think I've seen it happen to Erica too, where like you'll get into these like pretty like deep dungeons, and like you hit encumbrance in there, and it's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna throw a bunch of stuff away and never come back for it.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
yeah,
that happens.
That happens.
And like, I mean, Skyrim is not a game for me, but like that would bum me out. Like,
I mean, money is so common in that game that you don't really need all the shit you're grabbing to sell.
I mean, that's almost every game.
Yeah.
Like, the game is made to where you can pick everything up, but do you need to pick everything up?
I mean, yes.
And eventually,
in video games, you pick up everything.
Because the same thing happened in the Pathfinder game that me and Drew got to play. Shit, I can't remember the subtitle to it.
Kingmaker,
that's it. You can pick up the armor and the weapons of every enemy you kill, but you're eventually going to run out of space because you can only hold so much weight across all of your party members.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to pick up all of those armor and things when you don't need them? Like, yeah. you pick up what you need and you leave what you don't. if there's an enchanted piece of armor that you want, you can grab it. But if you're not gonna wear it, you're not gonna wear it, and you just forget about it.
I mean, that is true. And I am not the only person that dislikes encumbrance. Like, I see people complain about it on, like, Facebook groups and in videos and stuff all the time. Some people are way more aggressively angry about it. I just don't think it's a useful system.
It's a mechanic. I'm not gonna say I like it, but I'm not gonna say it makes or breaks a game for me. I'm not gonna say that it is the worst thing in the world. I don't support it, but it is something that adds to realism of a game, and the fact that, like, you do have to set limitations. And I like those limitations.
Having a carrying limit is one thing. To then allow you to exceed it, but completely fuck you at the same time, like, just stop. Don't let me pick another thing up and make a decision. It's the player's choice. The developers are giving the player the choice. Do you want to pick up this apple, go over your weight limit, and walk all the way back to town? Or some games do let you fast travel. Some games do when you're over encumbered. I think Skyrim might have. I can't fully remember.
I thought Skyrim was one of the ones that definitely didn't.
All the Bethesda games, when you hit if you go over the limit, like if your carrying capacity is 300 and you have 300 pounds, you can fast travel. If you have 301, you're fucked.
Yeah. So, but it's like, that then becomes the player's choice. If there's that one thing that you really want to take back with you, but everything else you have on you really want to take back with you as well, that's your choice. You don't have to drop something. You can then walk all the way back, or at least get out of the dungeon and hope your horse is still there, jump on your horse and ride your horse all the way back.
But so, like, to me, that isn't really giving, that choice is the same as, like, your bag just being full. It's just then going to take you longer to get back to sell that stuff. And
again, that is, when I see, like, a full bag, like, in a game like Skyrim or Fallout, where whatever you drop is going to stay there and you can go back to it if you want, it's not really a detriment. But then when you look at, like, an action game like, say, Diablo, where if you can't pick it up, you're gonna lose it. I don't think you can go back for it.
In every Diablo game, the shit does not go anywhere.
If an item drops in...
that's right, because in Diablo 2, loot dropped for everyone. In Diablo 3, it was each person got their own loot.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Diablo 2, if you're playing online, like, especially with randos or Shothead, someone else will pick up all the shit, but it would still be there if you town portaled and came back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I regularly would hit, like, capacity, pick up what I wanted, go back, like, town portal, drop it off, port back, pick up the rest of the stuff, and carry on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like that, like, to me, that I would rather be able to have picked up that last thing and moved slower while I grabbed my town portal and went back and sold everything.
But in basically every game where it slows you, you wouldn't have been able to town portal either. Like,
yeah.
Now you just have to walk all the fucking way back, and it's like, or just drop the thing and then do all that stuff, and it's just like, just don't let me pick up the thing then.
I mean, look, I think we can all agree, every game should just have open inventory. Why do we have to manage inventory slots? Just let us carry everything.
I mean...
It's a fantasy world, regardless of if it's supposed to be grounded or not.
Maybe these fantasy games need to start incorporating more bags of holdings. Like, even that doesn't have unlimited space, though. Like, that has unlimited...
Yeah, that's because D&D is stupid. Let's be real.
No, that's not.
But yeah, encumbrance is just I feel like it's an outdated mechanic at this point. Like, there should be better ways to do this, and just... I'm not a game designer. Like, I don't know those ways, but I feel like somebody out there is coming up with a better idea, and it's just a matter of time before it happens. But also, look at how many games have had interesting ideas that have just not been capitalized on. Like, what was that, Lord of the Rings game from, like, early gen? Shadow of Mordor.
Okay.
With the Nemesis system. Like,
yeah.
Everyone thought the Nemesis system was going to be, like, the new hot thing, and it really never was. And same thing with Breath of the Wild's mechanics, like being able to just climb on anything. No one's really capitalized on that again either.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Though I guess Breath of the Wild was only 3 years ago, so that is still up in the air.
A lot of things have not... Well, I mean, I haven't played a lot of, like, games like Breath of the Wild, so I don't know if the games like that have taken away or kept the climb on everything ability.
Yeah, and it's weird because, like, Breath of the Wild's art style kind of lended itself to being able to just sort of, like, pull yourself out of, like, that realistic look that so many games have. Be like, oh yeah, cool. Like, this is just a sheer wall. He can totally just walk up it. Whereas, like, if you're playing, like, a Sony exclusive, like, third-person game, those things all look so realistic that having like, Aloy or the samurai dude from, Ghost of Tsushima just, like, jump on a wall and start climbing until they ran out of breath would just be weird and out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's different strokes for different folks. Like, Richie just likes combat. He doesn't seem to care what the combat is, he just enjoys it.
As long as it's fun.
And, like, good. I'm glad. I'm a little pickier. If it doesn't feel good, I don't want to spend my money and time on it. I also don't play games as often as you do, Richie.
Hey, are you calling me some sort of nerd or something?
No, you're a giant nerd. Like, you play D&D. But, no, I mean, like, you actually don't, I know you don't play constantly, like day and night, but, like, when you have downtime, you're more often than not playing games, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had off all this week, and I might go down to the shore for, like, a couple hours tomorrow. Probably won't. And just been playing Avengers since yesterday. Yeah,
whereas, like, I usually, like, other than, like, random stuff in handheld mode on the Switch, I usually just play on the weekends. Like, during the week, like, by the time I'm done work and everything like that, like, we watch a couple TV shows, I'll read a couple comics, and then I go to bed.
During on season for TV, that's kind of how I am. But since everything is off season right now, I've got all the time in the world to play video games.
Yeah, and, like, we've talked about it before, like, I go to bed at 10. Because I sleep poorly, and that's the best way for me to get sleep. So, if I don't start a game till 7:30 or 8, like, I don't necessarily want to play for an hour and a half, and then be like, you know, getting things ready to go to bed, basically.
Yeah.
If I'm playing a game, I want to be able to play for, like, as long as I feel like it, and that's basically weekends.
And, I mean, that's the same for me, and it's why I wound up just playing, like, a shit ton of, like, MLB The Show, or Apex Legends, something like that, because it is something I can play for, like, an hour to an hour and a half, still, like, feel like I've gotten something accomplished.
Yeah, that's why I play a lot of little Switch games, because, you know, I can throw in the SNES app on the Switch, or, like, Animal Crossing, and, like, run around for half an hour to an hour, and feel accomplished, like, okay, well, I played something.
Oh man, let me tell you about Animal Crossing. I'm so mad that you have to shake trees to get acorns and pie cones.
I haven't even turned it on in a week.
I finished... Almost. I still have to do my swimming stuff, but I don't really care as much about that. I finished off September yesterday.
Nice. Yeah,
I had like 3 critters to catch, and I caught them yesterday. And I was like, alright, well, I'm done September. I don't really have to play anymore.
Yeah, like, I finished my museum. I cleaned up my island so, like, it looked nicer. Now I have money trees everywhere, because I just I kept planting them, but not shaking them. Because I didn't need the money. And then, like, I finished the museum. Well, I didn't finish the museum. I finished the fossils, which was the only thing I cared about.
Yeah.
So, like, there's nothing left that I want to do in that game, so I just kind of stopped.
I think October, I have 1 critter I need to catch. One fish I have to catch. And November, I have 1 bug I have to catch, and then nothing until December or January.
Yeah, I haven't caught a fish or a bug since June. Like, at all. Like, I haven't used a net or a fishing rod since June.
Yeah, so you definitely missed out on the summer critters, because there were some that were only available July and August.
Yeah, and it was just one of those, like, the stuff I wanted to do in that game was, at that point, had nothing to do with catching the fish and bugs. And I finished that stuff, and now it's like, alright, well, I am content with my island. I will check back in on it at some point just to, like, clean up the weeds and shoo away the cockroaches, and unless they put, like, a big content update, I'm probably done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I check in daily, just to see what I've got, who I've got shown up, and, occasionally I'll jump into the water and go swimming to try to get what I need to get for that, but I'm not too concerned about getting all of those sea creatures, because they don't get you anything. I just want to get, like, the recipes for the golden, stuff by catching all the fish and bugs.
Yeah, and honestly, the swimming, it was cool they added it, but it is probably the least interesting thing that you can do in that game.
It was too little too late, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
if they had added it like a month or two after launch, I would have been all down for it. But like adding it midsummer, it was just like, this is okay, but first of all the DIY stuff that comes from it, I'm not interested in. And, like, it's boring.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's very slow. There's nothing out there. The diving to, like, try and find stuff where there's bubbles is not a fun mechanic. Like, it's not really a mechanic. You just hit a button, you dive under, maybe you come up with something. At least with the fishing, like, there's a little bit of, like, a game to it. With, like, the timing and all.
And there's some, like, swimming creatures that you can try to go after that are faster and harder to get, and that, like, brings a little bit of excitement, barely. They're just a pain in the ass, more so than anything.
And honestly, I hadn't seen the video for it, like, I didn't watch the video before, like, it launched. I heard, like, that you could dive. I thought you'd actually be able to, like, dive and, like, be underwater. Is for like a short period of time, but that's not the case. It's very much just one of those. It's like, oh yeah, you hit the B button, you go underwater, then you come back up.
Yeah,
I think it's all still top down.
I think the only cool thing that I really like that they did is you can jump off from the 3rd level of land, and you can jump into the water. So it's like, oh, that's cool. You can like have a little diving contest or something.
Really?
But, yeah, if you're at the 3rd level and you're right next to the water, you can jump right into the water from there, as long as you're wearing a swimsuit, basically.
So I guess that only really works from, like, the back of your island where there's no beach?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah, because, like, I was trying to think, like, the only place where there's not, like, a big chunk of beach that you can't build on is, like, the back.
Yeah, so you can dive in from the back, basically.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that they did that. As long as you avoid, like, any far jutting out rocks and the secret beach, you should be able to dive in.
Yeah. I mean, I got rid of the wetsuit. I mean, I didn't get rid of it. Like, it's somewhere in my inventory, but, like, I don't carry it with me.
Dude, I need, like, a shed or something. They need to make access to, like, more storage.
Yeah, back in July, I went through and picked out all the duplicate items I had and got rid of them to free up storage because I was almost out.
I do that at least once a month, and right now I'm storing a lot of bugs and stuff for models. And I still have I think I have one of every fossil, or almost one of every fossil. But that's only like 75 space, so I'm not like saying that's a lot. It's all my goddamn clothes. Like,
yeah, the clothes takes up a lot of storage.
I kind of wish they would have let you store your clothes in a different set of storage.
Yeah, like for a game that has so many items to get and catalog, like, you really don't get a lot of storage. Like, you're almost required to create a new account on your Switch and make, like, a second house just to upgrade it so that you have storage.
And why not just give me the ability to build a shed or something like that?
Or like, just buy additional storage.
Like, yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah. Like, let me give Tom Nook, like 3 million bells, and he gives me extra storage.
Yeah. They keep adding more items. They keep adding more things. So obviously people are going to be running out of storage. But there's so many people out there that have like 3 accounts or four people on their island because they want like the 4 houses and all the storage.
Yeah, and plus like clothing. So your like normal catalog items are one thing because they expect you to put them out, not just store them.
Yeah.
But like clothing, there's so much clothing. If you buy one of everything, like, you don't have any space left. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Any time I bought clothes, I bought every color of that clothing. And I'd still only rotate through, like, the same 5 outfits. But it's like, I have one of every color of everything that I've bought. I'm like, I have no storage space because I'm taking up 800 things of storage just on my clothes.
Yeah, I actually stopped doing that at one point. Like, I stopped buying, like, the same thing in multiple colors unless there happened to be, like, 2 colors of a thing that I liked. I just started buying one version of it in whatever color I liked best, just to not have all that storage.
I haven't dug up fossils. Like I said, I still play every day. I haven't dug up fossils, gone into Nook's Cranny, or gone into Able Sisters in 2-3 months.
So up until last week, I was going on every day, digging up all the fossils, digging up the money tree spot, and planting more. And then I would keep the fossils in my bag until my bag was full. I'd go get them assessed. I'd look through them to see if there were any, like, cool ones that I wanted to just, like, build outside of the museum. Like, I like a T-Rex and something else, and some of, like, the little, like the ambers and the footprints and stuff's kind of around the museum. And then I would go sell all the rest at Nook's. And that's why I haven't gone to the Nook terminal to take out bells. And I've put bells in it, though. And that's why I stopped shaking my money trees, because it was like once a week, I would just have 120 new bells come to me.
I have stopped selling to Timmy and Tommy, and I just sell into the box because I don't need the money. Like, when I need the money, I'll go take it out, and that's like once every 2-3 weeks.
Did the whole turnip exchange market thing kind of fuck that game a little bit?
Maybe. Yeah. Like, we had a group, so it like, with having a group that was as active as we were, like, whether or not there would have been a turnip exchange website and stuff wouldn't have really changed it, because we still would have had our group in touch with each other. But I feel like, yeah, in general, like, having the turnip exchange where you can just go rely on strangers to sell your turnips did kind of, like, change, maybe not really break it, but change it up a bit. And the fact that there's so many goddamn time travelers, like 90% of the players in that game time travel, so they just keep going until they have good prices to get somebody to come in. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, because, like, I know Sarah hasn't played it in, like, 3 months, because she just kind of didn't feel like doing anything, and it wasn't like she needed to do anything to earn money in the game anymore.
Yeah, it comes a point if you have friends that are active that are watching their turnips and watching their prices, it ends up becoming like a really simple game. But I think the turnips have been in it since the 3DS, or since the DS. So, like, the turnips aren't a new thing, but it's the capability of going to other people's islands freely, which made it kind of break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a very long opening.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Let's actually get into the news and such, which, you know, this first one is a sad one.
I think that's why it was such a long opening. We didn't want to get to it.
I mean, probably a little bit, yeah. This past Friday, August 28th, actor Chadwick Boseman passed away unexpectedly of stage 4 colon cancer.
Mm-hmm. He, supposedly he didn't tell, like, he asked his publicist and everyone he knew, everyone he worked with, to just don't tell anyone.
So apparently very few people knew. Like, it was probably just his management team and family.
Yeah.
Cause it looks, I saw some articles today actually that looks like Marvel didn't actually even know. It looks like, I don't know whether he did it himself or somebody from his, like, team did it, but they sent an email to, Kevin Feige, on the 28th that was, in his words, vague and urgent. But by the time Feige had seen it, read it, and then reached back out, Boseman had already passed.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like, yeah, just nobody anywhere knew what was going on. But he got diagnosed with stage 3 in 2016.
Yeah.
So for 4 years, he dealt with this and played a fucking superhero doing a lot of his own stunts.
3 superhero movies and at least one other action movie under his belt during this time.
Yeah, and I mean, like, go back and watch Black Panther from 2018. Like, that dude did not look anything like he had been going through cancer treatments.
Well, so that's the thing. In April, there was a picture of him looking terrible. And nobody knew that he was sick. And so, like, I want to say it was either in our group chat or someone else said, well, there was talk of him looking real bad, so I Googled it and was like, oh shit, look at that. He looked terrible. And, like, the headlines were like, oh, he's just had massive weight loss, and, like, nobody had any thought that it was due to an illness in any way.
Yeah, especially for an actor, because actors do that sort of stuff for roles so frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and for all anyone knew, like, he was doing like a Tom Hanks sort of thing, like playing a role that required him to lose just all of his body fat and muscle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. It's rough though. He actually apparently, like, as of earlier in August, was still ready and planning to start prepping for Black Panther 2 in September.
Yeah.
Like, he had every intention of beating this and doing what he kept doing.
Cancer, man. It sucks. Like, we were between episodes recording Brazil on Friday when we found out, and we were all just devastated afterwards. And, like, a friend had texted me, and I texted back and forth with them. They told me that their son was, like, absolutely devastated. I'm just like, how do you... This sucks. Like...
Yeah, it seems like a lot of kids, especially, like kids from, like colored backgrounds, like black and Hispanic and, like, minorities that, like,
that don't have any other
have that representation.
Yeah.
Like, for when did Iron Man come out? 2008?
Yeah.
So for 10 years, every superhero in a Marvel movie was a white guy. For the, like, 7 of those years, because you had Falcon, but, like, he was never the star. And then 2018 comes around, and it's a king and the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and it's like, he can't just be, he's mostly known for Black Panther, but he played Jackie Robinson. He played, Thurgood Marshall. Like, he's done
James Brown, too.
Was he James? I didn't realize he was James Brown.
There was a biopic, from 2014 or 15 called Get On Up, where he was James Brown.
I don't think I saw that on... I didn't recognize that on his IMDb when I was looking it up. But, like, he's played some iconic characters, both in biopics and in, like, Marvel movies. Like, it's just... He is someone to look up to. He was a fantastic actor. And like, from what I hear, an all-around great guy. Yeah,
like... I mean, it's unfortunately true, but, like, famous people, actors and stuff like that pass away frequently. Like, it happens. Like, everybody dies. And, like, you always see people, like, that knew them or worked with them on, like, social media, like, saying nice things about them.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are, like, out there, like, with, like, posts and tributes and stuff like that to him is kind of insane. I actually saw Twitter, tweeted that the post from, like, his account that announced that he had passed away was the most liked and retweeted tweet of all time.
Yes.
Wow. By a large margin. Like, Obama had a tweet before that was, like, significantly fewer. That was the highest liked tweet up to that point.
Yeah. Have you guys seen, Josh Gad's tweet about it?
No.
So he played somebody in the movie Marshall, where Boseman was Thurgood Marshall. And so they've been friends since then. I think that movie came out in 2016, 2015?
2017.
Okay. And so they've been close friends. They've texted back and forth and such. And, like, his tweet, or he got a text from Boseman saying, like, look, it's been raining for 3 days. When the rain stops, I want you to go outside and, like, appreciate the fresh air and smell it in and live life to the fullest. And, like, I'm not doing it any justice by what I'm saying, but, like,
this was also in, like, June or July during quarantine when everyone had been locked inside.
It was the last text Josh Gad got from Chadwick Boseman. So I don't know how long ago it was, but it was the last text he got from him.
If I remember correctly, on the, like, because it was timestamped. Like, I believe it was, like, July.
Okay. But still, like, that's just, it's such, like, a nice, heartwarming thing, and it's also, like, depressing to see it as well. Like, it just...
Yeah, there were a lot like that. Like, Ryan Coogler, who was, the director of Black Panther, had a very long, like, write-up about him. Michael B. Jordan, who apparently the two of them have known each other for, like, well over a decade. Like, yeah. They were both on a soap opera together, it sounds like. So, like, Jordan has known him since he was, like, 16, he said in like, his posts. And, yeah, like, just tons of other people. Latita Wright, I hope that's how you say her name. She plays Shuri in Black Panther. Did like a video on Instagram that I haven't seen yet because I don't really use Instagram, but I saw, like, it posted other places. So yeah, just people all over the place are doing stuff like that. But ABC on Sunday actually aired Black Panther commercial free, which is not something network television does very often. And also just 2 days after this happened. And then immediately following that, they had a 2020 special, like, memorial to him, where, like, they had people, like, they had celebrities that had worked with him on, like, Robert Downey Jr., like, video chatted in, and, Forrest Whitaker, and I want to say, oh shit, who is the mom from The Cosby Show?
I can't remember her name.
I knew her name, like, 5 minutes ago. But the mom from The Cosby Show also said, was on there if I remember correctly. So like a whole bunch of people just kind of like saying like, he was a really good guy.
Felicia Rashad.
There you go. Thank you. And then there were some like clips of him like from like interviews and stuff like that. Like he apparently spent a lot of time going to like children's hospitals to like kids going through cancer treatment while he was also going through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And they showed a video. It was him and some of the cast of Black Panther, like, on, like, a stage during, like some sort of press conference, sort of, like, interview event. And, like, he was talking, he's like, yeah, these two little kids, he named both of the kids. They were trying to hang on till the movie came out, and they didn't make it, and, like, he couldn't finish his sentence, like, he just started breaking down. And it's like, you don't see that often. From,
I know.
Like, people in movies.
I know Marvel also posted some sort of tribute. I think it's only, like, 5-10 minutes long.
Yeah, they did like a video kind of like montage that actually played at the end of Black Panther before the 2020 special.
Okay.
And it was very well done and good.
It was.
And so, I saw this stuff kind of mentioned a bunch of places. And it was just it was eerily coincidental. So August 28th this year was also, when MLB held Jackie Robinson Day. Mm-hmm. Which, like, his breakthrough role was playing Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, I think that was his first on-film starring role.
Yeah, exactly. The 28th, it would have been Jack Kirby's 103rd birthday, which is the co-creator of Black Panther. Mm-hmm. And the 28th was also the anniversary of the 1963 March on Washington, where, Martin Luther King Jr. did his I Have a Dream speech.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, just, like, eerie coincidences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And then the last thing I have on here, and like, mostly because this is shitty, people are already out there, like, arguing and debating over what Marvel should do with the character.
I mean, of course they are.
I mean, like, I'm gonna be 100% honest, like, after I heard it and, like, it kind of settled with me, one of my reactions was, oh fuck, what are they gonna do? But I would never, like, go out there and be like, you gotta figure this out now. No, like, let the people rest and mourn first.
Exactly.
Like,
and so the shittiest one, if it may not have even been the next morning. It may have been that night. Screen Rant put up a post of, here's what we think Marvel should do with the character.
Well, alright, let's be slightly fair. About 5 minutes after Marvel found out, I guarantee they already started having talks.
Exactly, but that's internal discussions by executives who really don't give a fuck about anybody. But, like, this is a news site who's basically trying to capitalize on people's grief.
Yeah.
By, like, not even letting the guy be buried before they're putting out articles. Like, it was within 12 hours of his death being announced that they already had an article written and posted about, like, you know, like, it was Screen Rant, so it was probably, like, the 10 actors we think could replace Chadwick Boseman or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It was so bad that, like, Twitter instantly just shit all over them.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm not surprised.
And then first so the title was the big thing. I forget how it was titled, and it's been removed at this point. The title was super shitty though. The first thing they did was revise the title, but left the article the same, and people continued to bash them for it to the point where they removed the article, posted a different, like, more like an in memoriam article about Chadwick Boseman. And if I remember correctly, there was actually, like, a little, like, editor's note at the top, like, basically saying, like, hey, we fucked up. Like, sorry.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. It's crazy how, like, media places like that just dive at that stuff. Like, I'm not surprised they did it, but it's still crazy. What a place to live. But yeah, it's only a matter of time before people just really get started with that because it's coming. Like, it's already happening. People are like, oh, well, they should make Shuri Black Panther, or they need to recast it, or they should just not do it. Like,
and that's there's a time and place for the media and general public to have that discussion, and it is not 12 hours after. It is not, what's it been, almost 5 days since. It's like, it's down the road. It's when they actually get back into making films and stuff. Like, Black Panther 2, I don't think was slated for at least 2-3 years.
it was supposed to go into production in the spring.
But has that changed because of COVID?
No, it was still scheduled up until, like, presumably now.
Okay.
That's why Chadwick was getting ready to start preparing for the movie in September, like gym regimens, like diet, all that stuff, to get back into shape to do the character and to start filming the character in 6 months.
Makes sense.
But yeah, like, you know, like, give it time, let people figure it out, because, like, you figure at this point, like, it seems like he was close with Ryan Coogler, the director, which means, and the writer-director, which means he is not going to be thinking about that movie and how to make it anytime soon.
No.
Like, if the guy who's making the movie isn't concerned about it, like, the rest of the world shouldn't be either.
Yeah. There's plenty they can do, but it's not our time or place to talk.
Yeah, exactly. That said, no, that's, no.
Well, that said, I'm going to say, to bookend my depressing weekend, the last thing I watched before I went to sleep Sunday night was the Papuli episode of Full House.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, I capped off my Sunday by watching Justice League.
I mean, that's probably just as bad as watching the Papuli episode of Full House.
Yeah, so this is one of those things, there's no good segue out of it. So I'm just going to go ahead. I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music over the weekend. I
didn't realize that. I forgot that it was coming out, but I also didn't realize that it was going straight to streaming.
Yeah, it's a $20 rental. So, like, I realize for you, that's more of a, like, is it worth it? For us, it's like, well, it's still cheaper than both of us going to the movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably cheaper than me going to the movies as well, because I'm not spending a boatload on drinks and popcorn.
That's true. It was good, though. Like, if you guys have any sort of fondness for the originals, it's 100% worth watching.
That is what I've heard.
You guys are probably going to hate me for this, but I don't think I've ever seen both of the originals all the way.
I don't know that I have either, so...
Man, what the fuck... Well, actually, Drew, I'm not surprised. But, Richie, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What do you mean? If anything, you should be more surprised at Drew and less surprised at me.
I don't watch movies.
He doesn't watch anything.
I know, but, I mean, I don't know. I'm
impressed he knows who Bill and Ted are.
I mean, I've certainly seen some of at least one of them. I don't know that I've seen all of either of them, and if I have, it's been probably close to 20.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they are... It's been a while since I watched both of them. They are both still very good movies, though. That may be completely nostalgia-driven, but there's something endearingly fun about them. Just because, like, they're idiots, but, like, they're well-meaning idiots, and they call Socrates Socrates.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie. Whole movie they call him Socrates. And Napoleon eats a giant sundae. And Joan of Arc does aerobics, because it's fucking 1980s. And they beat death at, like, Connect 4 and, like, I think Twister at one point, if I remember correctly. Like, they just keep beating death over and over again at games.
Alright, so Excellent Adventure is on Hulu. And Bogus Journey is, I have to pay for Prime. But I'll at least watch Excellent Adventure this weekend.
So I would definitely say, don't watch the new one without watching both of them. Because there are characters from both originals and plot points mentioned in the new one.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, so I'll watch Excellent Adventure this weekend. If I like it enough and feel like spending the $4 to rent it on Amazon, I'll rent Bogus Adventure. Or Bogus Journey, because it's Excellent Adventure, Bogus Journey, and then the new one, right?
Yep,
yeah,
that's exactly correct.
So
I'm surprised neither of them are on HBO.
Well, the one that's on Hulu is probably on Hulu via HBO, so it's probably on HBO.
I'm just checking real quick. Oh God, Young Sheldon is on HBO now.
I'm not surprised with that one.
Well, I am, because, it is a CBS property, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm surprised, because they have their own streaming platform.
Mm.
Actually, no, it looks like Bill and Ted is not on HBO.
Oh, so then it's just on Hulu.
But yeah, so Face the Music, I don't know, it just seemed like it had a lot of heart. Like they knew what it was, they knew what they wanted to do with it. It has that nostalgia factor where like they mention or do things that make sense from the original, but it's also its own story.
Yeah.
You know? But it also plays off of like the whole purpose of the first two movies where, I mean, like minor spoiler for like the overarching plot. The whole idea is Bill and Ted unite the world with music.
Yeah.
They are like the chosen ones. In the first movie, they don't even know how to play music. And
all I know is like, wasn't the first movie they were just trying to go through time to help write a history paper or something like that?
So their history, like they had to basically do like a history presentation. And it was basically if they didn't get an A on it, they failed.
Okay.
But they were also both morons.
Yeah.
If they failed, Ted was going to get shipped off to military school, which is Keanu Reeves' character, if I remember correctly. I always used to get them confused, but I'm pretty sure Bill is Alex Winter and Ted is Keanu Reeves. So George Carlin shows up, basically tells them like, yeah, dudes, you unite the world, like world peace, all that fun stuff by your music. So in order for that to happen, you guys can't get split up right now. So here's a time machine. Here's a phone book that shows you how to get back in time. Go find some people to help you pass your history exam. Also, though, Richie, you'll hate how time travel works in this. Actually, no, maybe you won't.
No, because, I mean, they take people out of time, but they put them back in time, and they don't actually break time.
So, what they do this thing, though, where they just tell each other they're going to go back in time and do a thing, so that they have a thing for later. Like, there's literally a whole scene where, like, one of them goes, oh yeah, well, remind me later to go back in time to put the keys here before we get here so that we can open the drawer when we get here. And he's like, yeah, I'll put the keys underneath, like, this folder. And they lift up the folder and the keys are there.
I mean, look, this is a comedy, but I'd have to see it to be able to figure out my complaints. But that doesn't break things, because that's the whole paradox of that's, like, how did this get here if we found it there and we put it there? Were we the ones who were always the ones that put it there? Type of thing. Like, did time travel always happen?
Yeah, they do a bunch of that. But yeah, the first one, they just travel around and collect a bunch of historical figures and then let them loose in Southern California in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And then the sequel, they die and they go to hell. They beat death. They become friends with death. They get stationed. They build robots. They beat the evil robot for themselves.
Okay.
And then this one takes place, 30 years later or however long it's been, and they're sort of they were like one-hit wonders in the 90s, and like now they're just sort of washed out.
Yeah.
And this whole movie is about, it's them basically like trying to rekindle their music in a way. Like they're trying to find the song that apparently unites the world, before the world actually ends.
Yeah.
And like, they show, like, they each have kids, like, they each have a daughter, and early on in the movie, like, I felt like they pushed those kids a little too much to be just the exact copies of their fathers, but, like, as it goes on, like, it actually makes a lot more sense, and the characters are more, like, much more different than you realize from just, like, the first, like, 2 or 3 minutes they're on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it a whole lot, and I definitely recommend it.
I'll eventually check it out. Eventually. When it becomes cheaper to stream.
I mean, look, at this point, just watch the first two for now.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
My goal is to at least watch the first one this weekend. I definitely should have time at some point. I'm watching my parents' dog Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so
okay.
I can't really leave the house.
The first one, can the dog not be left alone?
He can, but he's going to be in a new house. He's coming to my house.
Oh, yeah. I just figured you were going to their place.
No. Me and my sister have to go pick him up and bring him here because it's too much of a hassle for us to go over there 4 or 5 times a day to take care of him.
Yeah, no, I honestly just figured like you were just going to go stay at their house for the weekend.
No, If anyone were staying anywhere, it wouldn't be me. I own this house.
That's true. I tell you that all the time, and you kind of never roll with it.
I roll with it when it comes to this.
But But you said Excellent Adventure is the one that's free on Hulu.
Yes.
Yeah, that's arguably the better of the first two. Also, like Bogus Journey has a lot of memorable characters and like stuff, but
Well,
Excellent Adventure is definitely the
Excellent Adventure was the first one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like that doesn't really surprise me. Like they because it's an 80s movie, so like they got like a winning thing with Excellent Adventure. So like,
and then they sort of dropped the ball in the 90s with the follow up.
Yeah, it happens all the time with 80s 90s comedies.
Yeah, but honestly, like Death is such a good character that it makes up for like almost every other problem that Bogus Journey has.
Oh, it's the same guy who played Death in both of them.
Yep. Also, the dude that plays oh fuck, what's his name? The killer from Gotham, Zaz, the bald guy, like the guy that he has alopecia, like he has no hair.
Yeah.
He plays a robot in this one, and it's great. And I realize you don't have as much of a connection with that guy, but he is a character on that show Barry on HBO, and he is one of the best characters on that show. So I just like that actor a whole bunch more now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good. Go watch it. So the Game of Thrones showrunners, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss,
yes,
have been announced to be showrunners adapting a new sci-fi series for Netflix. It's called The Three-Body Problem: Remembrance of Earth's Past. It's a book trilogy by, I'm not going to say this right, but I'm going to give it a shot, Liu Cixin? I had never heard of this until I read this article. The description from the IGN article that I read on the series is, the first book in the trilogy tells the story of humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, portraying a vision of the future that sees all of humanity vulnerable to the same external threat, and addresses how this both unifies and divides humanity. Author Liu Cixin has joined Netflix project as a consulting producer with Ken Liu, who wrote the English translation for 2 volumes in the series.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like that seems like it could be an interesting series. Hopefully, since the trilogy is done, these guys can actually stick the landing. Unless they get distracted by like another Star Wars movie that falls apart.
No, it's just going to be Space Dothraki. They're going to do what they were going to do with Star Wars, but in this.
Probably.
We're just going to get Space Dothraki.
Hey man, as long as they cast Jason Momoa, I'm okay with it.
I mean, maybe they can have him as a Space Dothraki guy, but he has a show on Apple. So
right, that like site show where
it's like
Blind or whatever.
No, I don't think. I don't know. I can't remember. It seems very interesting. The show that I'm talking about.
But it's on Apple TV Plus, so no one ever watches it.
It's like there's an ancient civilization or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's the show where like everyone, like no one has had sight for generations, so no one, like everyone is blind.
I guess it's called C. Sure.
Yeah. No, I'm 90% sure that's the case.
No, I guess that is what it is. Yeah. I knew nothing about it except that it was like they're like a kind of like ancient civilization, but in the future kind of thing or something like that. So I was always super interested in it.
Yeah, so the premise for that show is, in the distant future, the human race had lost the sense of sight, and society is left to find new ways to interact, build, hunt, and survive. It is like a post-apocalyptic future where no one can see. Yeah,
I'm super interested in it, but I've never, because it's Apple TV, I'm never going to see it. But this seems cool. Hopefully they do good with it. I know nothing about this series.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it until I saw this article.
Yeah.
What was next? Oh, you finally watched Legend of Korra.
Don't say finally, because it's only been out for a month.
No, it's been out for 6 years.
It's only been on Netflix for a month, okay? I don't think
you watched Legend of Korra.
I did watch Legend of Korra. I started it Friday, and I finished it Sunday. And it was good. I like what they did with the art in this. Because they did a completely different art style. If you guys want to like just pull up side by sides of Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra to maybe see what I'm talking about. In Avatar, everything was like solid lines and like it was cartoon drawn. But in Korra, the characters and like the moving pieces were solid drawn, but everything else was hand painted. It looked, and it was really cool how they did it. That like it just every time like it took me like halfway through the first season to actually notice what they did with like the design of like the background areas. But once I did, I was just like kind of in awe every time of like, oh man, how they did that perspective with this character and blah blah blah. Like it was really cool. This series takes place 70 years after The Last Airbender, and so like you got to get reintroduced, some old characters, find out kind of what happened over the past 70 years, but not really, and like see how Korra comes into her own as the new Avatar. And it was a cool, different take on the Avatar series. Although it's only the second one. The first one, it was all about Aang being the last Airbender and stopping the Fire Nation.
And Aang, correct me if I'm wrong, there was like no Avatar for like a long time because Aang was born and then frozen and like was just lost for like generations, right?
So 100 years. Aang was frozen for 100 years, so they did not know where or what happened to the Avatar for those 100 years. And then he breaks out of the ice and he stops the first series, Avatar: The Last Airbender, takes place over the course of 6 months, whereas The Legend of Korra takes place over the course of about 5 years. I think there was a 3 to 5 year time jump between third season and fourth season. And the cool thing is each season has a different story. So each season is beginning to end a full story, whereas in Avatar: The Last Airbender, each season was just him learning and becoming an expert in each of the elements that he didn't know, and then stopping the Fire Lord. This one, it's like the season 1 of Korra was her becoming a master in the air element and fighting this group of people. And then at the end of that, the next season was her learning about the spirit world and doing stuff and fighting somebody else. And each season like was its own story, which is really cool in my opinion. Like you didn't need to know everything to have to follow each episode. Pacing was done really well, where it's like every other episode was like a relaxing episode, or every 2 episodes there was then one that was like kind of fillery. But like each episode had something like important. It was good. I really liked it. It had some really good like I don't know. It's just overall I just enjoyed it. Representation, I guess, is what I was trying to say, because at the end it is presumed that Korra is bi. And the writers have even come out and said, like, the very last scene, their ideas were that the 2 characters were a couple, which was Korra with another female character, whereas the whole entire series, she was like, will they, won't they, with a male character. So it was like kind of, it's like, it was a Nickelodeon show giving that kind of representation, which was pretty cool. And, like, not really heard of before.
Yeah, what was there, like, a 5-year gap between The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra?
Starting? Oh,
no,
series?
not the, yeah.
I think Legend of Korra started in 2014 or 2013.
No, I think it ended in 2014.
That might be right. So yeah, for at least 6 years probably. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, so Legend of Korra ran from 2012, April 2012 to December 2014.
Okay.
And Avatar ran from 2005 to 2008.
Wait, 2012 to 2014?
Yes.
It was 4 seasons.
Yeah, but they were Nickelodeon seasons.
Yeah. Well, I guess there was, 13 episodes per season, so yeah, true.
Oh wow, it was a shorter show than I realized.
Yeah.
So it broke down, it was 12 episodes, or season 1 was 2012, season 2 was 2013, and then season 3 and 4 were both in 2014.
Okay.
Actually really close together too. It was June to August and then October to December.
Oh wow. I would have figured that it would have been like season 3 would have been 2013 and 14, and then but I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it came out so quick and back to back with each other. But yeah, it was, I guess, 5 years, but from the end of Airbender to the beginning of Korra, release-wise in our time.
Wait, say that one more time, I'm sorry.
You said it was like 5 years, but it was 2008 to 2012, so 4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it was a good show, you should check it out. Very, very timely. It's nuts how timely the show is, because the first season is basically a group of people who can't bend, who aren't benders. They call themselves the Equalists, and they say that they're being, they're people who aren't benders are looked down upon in society, and so they're trying to revolt and be looked upon as equals. And I'm just like, this is like, if you think about the world right now, like shit like this is kind of similar. And then like each season kind of had like a similar reference to like real political issues that are going on right now. It blew my mind.
Well, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. You wrote on here, which series did I like better? I don't know. Airbender has this nostalgia factor, and it was all out great writing, but like it took a little too long for it to pick up, because like the whole first season, most of it is filler, because it was initially just a kids show, and then it became a kids show with a story from the next 3 seasons, or the next couple of seasons. Whereas like Korra stuck the landing with like being like a serious show that had some silly moments and having a beginning to end story. And like the story was good, and I think it's good in both aspects, but I can't really say which one I like better. And the world is like very like, generally you like one, you don't like the other, or you like one, you don't like the other as much. And like there's different parts of each one that I like more than the other that like just keeps them an equal playing field.
Okay, yeah, I've seen a lot of people often say they like Legend of Korra better, which is why I was just curious if you had a preference.
And like a lot of the people who might have seen Korra first would like Korra and then see Avatar be like, well, I liked Korra more. And then sometimes it's the other way around. Like I know a few people that liked Avatar more than they liked Korra. And for me, it's hard to say, because like Korra had that great story, had a good story, but Avatar is like the original and had an awesome story, but it kind of like was weird pacing, and the art was like very of its time, and the art in Korra is really cool. And so like I'm just like, I don't know, it's hard to make that decision. But I think everyone should watch these shows, both Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra.
I thought about watching them both a few times.
Like The Last Airbender season 1 is a rough watch because, like I said, it starts off being a kid's show with some story, and then like midway through season 1 and then season 2 and 3, it's like it is a kid's show with a lot of story and some antics.
I like antics though.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Legend of Korra though?
It was good. I liked it. Check it out. It makes me want more Avatar, but like I want a darker, grittier Avatar, like an actual anime Avatar, to see like what they could do with it. But I also want to know like more about the past. There's been 10,000 years of Avatars from the first Avatar to Korra, that there's so much that they could build upon. I want to know more about that.
And Korra is the first Avatar after Aang, right?
Yes. And as of right now, she's not the last Avatar, but the most recent Avatar, because we don't know anything else from leading on to the future. And something that happens in Legend of Korra, spoiler alert, I don't know if you're ever going to watch it, each Avatar can connect with all the previous Avatars. So say 10,000 years of Avatars, I don't know how many, say they each live 100 years, it's however many Avatars that they can connect and have a conversation with all those previous Avatars.
So it's one for all.
Kind of. The end of season 1, at the end of season 2, Korra loses her connection with all the previous Avatars. Gets kind of loses her powers for a few minutes in that episode and loses her connection to the previous Avatars. Once she gets those powers back, she still no longer has that connection.
So does that mean she's not the Avatar anymore?
she's still the Avatar, but the connection to the past lives has been gone. So Korra, although is like an Avatar, she's not the first. She is going to be the first in this current line of Avatars for the next.
Unless the next person just gets the ability to talk to all of them, except her, maybe.
Maybe, but so the reason the Avatar has, and it's explained in Korra, the reason the Avatar has that ability is because the light spirit Ravi, I can't remember the name of the light spirit, but the light spirit is the thing that passes on the abilities from each generation. So that technically gets killed, which is why she loses her connection with the previous ones. It then comes back to life and goes back in her, but it's, I guess, a new version of it. So it didn't really have all the past lives, maybe.
Okay.
It's really cool. You should check it out. It's like...
Well, you just spoiled it for me, so why would I watch it?
That's only one episode of season 2. There's still 3 more seasons you can watch.
Yeah, at some point. I've always thought about going and watching those, but,
Yeah.
Just haven't. So, I mentioned it earlier. I watched Justice League for the second time ever over the weekend.
Yeah.
Not sure why. I saw it on TV, and I put it on, and I watched the first 5 minutes of it. And then I was just like, I don't want to watch this on TV because it's going to take 4 fucking hours. So I just started watching it off of HBO because it's 2 hours exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. I stand by that from what I said in 2017. It's not bad.
No.
It's not good, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's I think I even said I didn't hate it, but it certainly has its flaws.
Yeah, exactly. It is better than Batman v Superman, which doesn't take a lot. But also rewatching it and kind of paying a little bit more attention to things. There are a lot of moments that are very jarring when you think about the fact that 2 different people had their hand in it, and the person that filmed most of it is not the person that edited it together.
Yeah.
So just when there's jokes cracked at certain points, and it's that doesn't really fit here, or it doesn't fit with the way this character is sort of portrayed the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And honestly, basically all of Superman just feels wrong. And I honestly don't know if that was mostly Whedon or mostly Snyder. Things I've seen with the Snyder Cut is most of his stuff was refilmed. So I'm assuming it was mostly the Whedon stuff. But I don't know. I feel like the Snyder Cut is going to do the same thing where they're not going to capitalize on having Superman alive again the way that they should.
Yeah.
Cause they almost get it at the end, but I don't know, it would have been way cooler if he showed up and actually just obviously not took him down because that would have been a very anticlimactic fight, but really took it to Steppenwolf for a few minutes before taking off to go help the Flash with the civilians.
Yeah.
Instead, it's he shows up, he punches the guy once, and then Batman's telling him that he needs help, what they need to do, and he just goes, "Oh, sorry, the people need help," and just leaves.
Yeah.
And yes, that's very much in character, but it's also is that really how you're gonna have Superman show up to the fight? He's gonna show up for a second and then just leave, and you're gonna have some comedy? Cause that's what that whole scene is. That whole scene is comedy.
Yeah.
And all of the civilian stuff apparently was not in Snyder's cut. That was all filmed for it was filmed to give them more of a sense of consequence.
Yeah.
Because in the original cut of the film, there weren't any people in that area for them to worry about. They really could just do whatever they wanted to do as far as the fight went. And then I don't know how well you guys remember that, but Superman leaves, he then catches up to the Flash, and I think calls him Slowpoke or something like that. And then they both split off to go help different people. Barry goes to the truck with the family that they kept showing, and just kind of gives them a super speed push out of the battle zone. And then he turns to his right and he sees Superman carrying an entire apartment block.
Yeah.
Through the sky. And it was all just comedy, and it's this is your big climactic battle. You took 2 of the characters away from that to crack jokes. That just feels weird and poor pacing and timing.
Yeah, and it was probably Whedon being this is too dark. I don't like it. Let's make it less dark.
Yeah, and it's a shame. I feel if I think Snyder's cut is going to be interesting to watch, but it's also going to be very dark and hard to watch because it's going to be so dry and dark.
And 4 hours long.
I mean, that too. But a good movie at 4 hours, like, I could definitely sit through. Snyder movie at 4 hours might struggle.
But what about a Snyder movie at 1 hour a week for 4 weeks?
I mean, even that is probably going to be a struggle. It's going to be very slow and plodding and probably kind of boring. Mm-hmm. And like I've said it before, he does really cool action sequences. Like, I am actually very excited to see the two big battles in that movie under, like, his entire vision for that. Because he does cool ass battles.
Yeah.
But, like, he doesn't do character development very well. And he doesn't know how to have levity that feels any kind of natural.
Yeah.
And that was the problem with what Whedon did. Like, it didn't feel natural to the script. If this was a Marvel movie, it totally would have. But it wasn't a Marvel movie. Like, the DC movies have a different tone. You need a different type of levity for them.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the funniest part in that movie that felt right was the scene with Gordon on the rooftop. When, like, everybody is there, and then, like, Gordon turns around, turns back, and everyone's gone but the Flash. And the Flash is just looking around, he's like, oh, they all left. That's rude. And then runs off himself.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the only times I can think of where, like, the comedy felt natural to the scene and not forced in there to be funny.
Like I feel like what they needed to do is, instead of have that scene, the saving people scene, like, they needed Flash to, like, throw lightning by accident, and then Cyborg be like, you can throw lightning? And Flash like, yeah, I guess I can throw lightning.
So they do that earlier in the movie.
Did they?
That's how they resurrect Superman.
I forgot that they had him throw lightning.
Yeah, so the way that scene plays out is they have the mother box, and they go to Zod's ship, to the same, like, pool of, like, fluid that Luthor used to turn Zod into Doomsday. They put Superman in it, and then Cyborg realizes that the ship doesn't have any power left. So the Flash is like, if I run fast enough, I can generate electricity. And so he runs super fast, generates electricity, and throws it into the pool right as the mother box hits it, which creates enough charge for it to do its job and bring Superman back to life.
Okay.
But yes, like, that could have actually been an interesting way to do it at the end there, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, there's a lot of ways where they could have, like, frankly, like, Batman doesn't crack jokes. Like, you'll chuckle when you hear him crack his jokes in Justice League, but, like, that's not Batman.
Yeah.
Like, Batman is funny when other characters are reacting to him, and he is just being fucking Batman about it. Like, that's how that character, like, any Batman comic, that's generally how it works. Yeah. There are very few times where Batman cracks a joke on purpose.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know, like I said, it's not awful. It's not the worst movie that's out there in, like, the superhero realm.
Are you sure?
It is not Thor the Dark World. It is not Batman vs. Superman.
It's not Superman Returns, or the Brandon Routh Superman.
Yeah, no, Superman Returns was pretty bad, too. It's a shame. Brandon Routh, good Superman. That script, garbage.
Yeah. Yes.
Other than that, though, this is just a very quick mention. I watched Class Action Park last night, which is a documentary about Action Park from up in North Jersey.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar with this?
I know Action Park, because it also had that, what's his name? Jackass guy movie.
Johnny Knoxville.
That's it. Johnny Knoxville movie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't actually Action Park, but it was, like, heavily inspired.
Influenced. Yeah. So Action Park, for anyone that's not familiar, it was a theme park in North Jersey, very close to New York City. It is in the part of New Jersey that is, like, north of Manhattan, where basically the guy who owned that park just did whatever the fuck he wanted. He had fake insurance. So, like, anyone that got hurt or killed, like, got fucking nothing. And people could just come and pitch ride ideas without any sort of engineering background. And if he thought it was cool, he'd have somebody build it and then tweak it along the way. It had a loop-de-loop, water slide.
Yeah.
Well, it was just a single loop that, during trials, apparently, the first few people that went down it got their teeth knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
and their teeth got wedged into the padding that was there to help you not get hurt. That failed, and then the people that tested it after that were coming out with lacerations all over their bodies. It wasn't until a while later that they opened the hatch on top and found the people's teeth wedged into the padding. And realized that's how people were getting lacerations.
Yeah.
And that hatch was actually there so that when people got stuck in it, they could open it and let them out. Because apparently there was a very small window where you were big enough that you could go around it, but also small enough that you didn't just get stuck.
Yeah.
And this was a park open from the late 70s till about 1996. There were at least half a dozen deaths on the various rides. Too many to count injuries, bad injuries. Apparently their beer garden was right next to all of their like race car stuff. Mm-hmm. And they had just like go-karts and speedboats, and they weren't really like attraction stuff. Like the go-karts could get up to 50. They apparently had speed reducers on them, but apparently the staff turned those off sometimes. Mm-hmm. And like the boats were speedboats that people treated like bumper boats. So
yeah,
and it was in a swamp full of snakes and dirty water that was polluted with gasoline and oil and dead fish.
Yeah, it's a shock that place lasted for 30 fucking years. Like,
yeah,
it blows my mind every time like I hear about this place and think about like how did this, like, I understand in like the 60s and kind of understand in the 70s, but like on the 80s, like why wasn't it shut down?
So I mean, the 80s were still a time where like no one really cared about safety that way. Like the 80s and really most of the 90s, like kids were allowed to just go out and like run around town from morning till dusk without any supervision. Their parents didn't really know where they were most of the time. Like you're just like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with Bobby, and then you just went and hung out with Bobby all day.
True.
And if you went to an amusement park, no one really asked questions.
Yeah.
And because the staff didn't care and the owner wanted everything to be as sort of turned to 11 as it could be, like bad shit happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nuts.
Like they showed that they had one thing that was literally just like, it was a cliff. It was like an 18-foot cliff drop that you would jump off the top of it into just a pool of water. And they didn't have any sort of like person there stopping people from going. It was just, you jump. And if the person below you didn't get out of the way fast enough, you might jump on them and hurt them. Mm-hmm. And at some point, they painted the floors of most of the pools white so that the lifeguards could see easier if anyone was dead at the bottom.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like it's absolutely absurd. Because a lot of people did it apparently then didn't know how to swim.
Why would you, if you don't know how to swim, why are you going to jump off a cliff into water?
Yeah, like they apparently like the staff, if somebody had to get saved on a ride, they would write on their wristband, CFS, which stood for can't fucking swim. So that other people, like the other staff would know and would stop them from going on things that they needed to be able to swim for. Just so that they didn't have to try and save them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that place, it's up to the documentary is called Class Action Park. It's on Netflix. It's about an hour and a half, or no, I'm sorry. It's on HBO Max. It's about an hour and a half. If you have HBO Max, check it out. It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And parts of it are super depressing. Like the first guy that died there was like 19 or 20. And like they have an interview with his mom, and like even 30 years later, like she was barely holding it together telling the story.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So like, yeah, they did a very good job with that documentary.
Yeah.
So I did a shitty job ordering things. This next one should have gone up after Bill and Ted. Keanu Reeves has a comic book coming out called Berserker without any vowels. So there's no vowels in that title.
Yeah.
And it's up on Kickstarter right now. I'm actually going to click on that Kickstarter link real quick to see how much it's gone up in the last, 6 hours? Let's see. All right. So it has made over $50,000 in 6 hours. The goal was $50,000. Right now it is at $401,000 and it keeps going up. At 2:00 this afternoon, it was at $350,000. So, suffice to say, they made their money for the book.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so it's being published by Boom, and it's co-written by Keanu and Matt Kint, who, He wrote Exo Manowar for Valiant, as well as like some other books that I had never heard of. And the art is by Ron Garney, who has done some stuff on Amazing Spider-Man, as well as other books I hadn't really heard of. So the sort of like the synopsis from Boom for the book. In this brutally violent new series, the man known only as Berserker, this time with vowels, is half mortal and half god, cursed and compelled to violence, even at the sacrifice of his sanity. But after wandering the world for centuries, Berserker may have finally found a refuge, working for the U.S. government to fight the battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. In exchange, Berserker will be granted the one thing he desires, the truth about his endless, blood-soaked existence, and how to end it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, it does sound cool, and the character in the book was drawn to look kind of like Keanu, at least in my opinion. Definitely, he has the facial hair and the long hair. Like, he's just like a comic book sort of bulkiness that like real people don't get other than The Rock. So the reason I have this actually included here, a lot of like indie comic creators super angry about this. Because it's on Kickstarter. They're kind of shitting all over Reeves about it because they think that he should have just funded the book himself if their goal was just $50,000. Which is like a fair argument if that's the reason that they did the Kickstarter. But odds are the decision was Boom. They wanted to generate more interest in the book up front before actually making any sort of like financial investment in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because I get that, because I don't go to comic shops, but this is something I'm definitely interested in. And if it were just sold at comic shops or bookstores, I would never know about it.
Yeah, it also looks like it's a graphic novel. It's not issues. The cheapest backer amount is $50. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty thick graphic novel. I didn't read all the Kickstarter stuff, so I'm not sure sort of all the details on that part. But like a lot of publishers that aren't Marvel and DC do this. Image has done it a bunch recently, particularly the Top Cow branded Image. They kickstarted two like omnibus collections for Witchblade and Darkness. And then they've also kickstarted a handful of other like graphic novel books because it's an easier way to sort of like market and get your books out there and get them like pre-purchased essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really what they're doing there.
Yeah, like they still do a run and sell them at like conventions and sell them to stores and stuff like that. But doing it this way, they're not beholden to like Diamond getting it onto solicitation sheets and then comic book shoppers actually knowing what it is and asking like their shop to pull it. Because like a $50 graphic novel, stores aren't going to stock 50 of them.
Yeah,
they're going to maybe stock 2 of them. And that's like a bigger store. And odds are, like, graphic novels, like, comic shops that I go into, the trades and stuff like that don't go on, like, the wall facing out. They go on, like, the shelf spined. So, like, if you're not there looking for that book, like, you're not going to find it by accident.
Yeah.
So, like, while I get it, like, stuff like this definitely does seem harsh for indie creators because, you know, like, that's usually how indie creators get their books out there. Like, they make them and then they kickstart them. And that's how they fund, like, paying for, like, the other people they need on it, whether they need somebody to, like, draw or color or what have you. And then, like, the printing and actual shipping of them.
Yeah.
But also, like, this helps point people at Kickstarter for a place to look for comic books. So when you go to Kickstarter and you back a comic book, they start showing you other comic books that are up for Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this is at least not, like, giant AAA, like, well-known writer, like, comic book person, kickstarting their own book. When, like, they could easily just go to Marvel or DC and get them to, or Image for that matter, and have the book just completely done by them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not against this, and, like, Boom has done this for a bunch of other books, too. Like, I've backed quite a few books that Boom has... Not necessarily, they haven't necessarily run the Kickstarters themselves, but they have had books that they were publishing that were run through Kickstarter for, like, their initial runs.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I get it. It makes sense. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm definitely interested in that book, too. Like, especially after reading the synopsis. Like, I vaguely knew that he was involved in making a comic, but I didn't know anything about it until this article.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh. Anyway, did either of you guys watch any of the Gamescom stuff last week?
Just that first night.
I mean, that's really all I was talking about, the Gamescom opening night live.
Yeah.
I did not. I forgot that it was a thing going on, and then just forgot.
So it was fine. There wasn't a lot of noteworthy stuff there. We got to see digital Ronald Reagan in the Black Ops Cold War trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That was something. That Unknown 9 game, I don't know if you remember that one, Drew, with like the little girl and like the weird power stuff.
Not really.
I don't remember how else to describe it. It was directly after Call of Duty though, so it was kind of easy to sort of get missed in the shuffle. I thought that game actually looked interesting. The GameSpot blurb for it, it was a world premiere action-adventure game from Reflector. Unknown 9 is a narrative-driven game that features a protagonist able to manipulate the world around her, seeing them as specters of sorts that cannot hurt her. It looks like it will contain plenty of secrets as she removes a brick from a wall to look inside. But like it was like a little girl in the trailer, it seemed, and kind of like maybe like in another country, like maybe like somewhere in like the Middle East or something. It looked like one of those sort of like street bazaar sort of places.
Can't say I remember. In fairness, I was also watching it while working and kind of just half had it on.
Yeah, other than that, like they showed like Doom Eternal DLC. They 100% confirmed a new Dragon Age game, but didn't really show anything from there.
Right.
It was just a lot of people talking about how much they're excited to be working on Dragon Age. They showed a very long trailer for World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
Big ups to World of Warcraft for having another expansion. Holy shit.
That game's never going away.
Holy shit.
I mean, it still has like 10 expansions to go to catch EverQuest 1.
That's true.
Still putting out expansions in 2019.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm surprised World of Warcraft has been going along. Like, I'm more surprised about World of Warcraft than I am EverQuest 1.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I don't know, World of Warcraft, like, EverQuest has that weird sort of, like, it existed in the 90s. And, like, World of Warcraft is just one of those things, like, I don't feel like people have, like, that nostalgia factor for it. It's just that thing that's always been there.
Yeah.
The trailer thing, like, this motion comic they did for Shadowlands looked cool. I wish, like, the game actually kind of had that to it more so. Mm-hmm. But it's an MMO, so, like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That comes out in October though, so people are excited for that. I believe this is the one where they're dropping the level cap back down too.
Right.
Or maybe they're resetting the levels. I forget how they're doing it, but like the level cap is 60 again instead of going up.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
And like they're changing a bunch of other stuff. They showed off some Crash Bandicoot 4 stuff, which that game looks fun. Star Wars Squadrons, Mafia Definitive Edition. I really wish the LEGO games stopped having voice acting that wasn't just either random noises or actual clips from movies. But the Skywalker Saga looks like it could be cute.
I mean, of course, it's a LEGO game, so it will have that going for it at least.
Yeah, I did not realize until it might have been like the Beastcast last week or something, or maybe the Hotspot, that like those fucking LEGO games have been around since the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, they came out when the prequels were actively happening.
Yeah. That's
insane.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that until they mentioned it and it was like, oh yeah, they're fucking totally aware of those games on PS2.
Yeah. We've got the VR Medal of Honor coming, which is only available on Oculus.
Right. And it's pretty hilarious, the lineage of fucking the people at Respawn, especially like Vince Zampella, having started in the business working on Medal of Honor, going to Activision, starting a studio, going to Activision, making a Call of Duty game, leaving there, and now back to a Medal of Honor game that it has a subtitle directly referencing Call of Duty.
Yeah, it does. I also believe Vince said during his little like speech, the director of this game was also the director on some of the Medal of Honor games.
Yeah, I believe so.
That's actually kind of cool. That is a cool thing to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I said, it's on Oculus stuff only, so we will never see it. Unless one of you guys plans on buying a Quest sometime soon.
Nope.
I didn't think so. Destiny 2 stuff, more Ratchet and Clank, which, we got like the release window for that, and it is scheduled for PS5 launch window. Doesn't mean it'll be a launch title, but it'll probably be out like sometime between November and January, I assume.
I'd
maybe February or March.
I was going to say I'd maybe stretch that out to March, but
yeah, I mean, it's probably more likely like end of quarter, because I think end of first quarter, I should say, for 2021. Didn't Infamous Second Son, that was considered a launch window, and that came out in like March, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, but still, early next year is likely when we're going to see that. And I mean, it's been 4 years. What did Insomniac do? Oh, Spider-Man. Fuck. I'm just like, they did another game since 2016. What was the other game they did? It's been 2016 since the last Ratchet and Clank game, so, early 2021 is not that far away if they had two different teams working on that and Spider-Man, which I'm pretty sure they did.
Eric texted me this weekend, and he was like, the new Ratchet and Clank game is based off the only fucking Ratchet and Clank game I have not played. Because it's based off of the remake, which was kind of its own thing, because that was based off the movie or something like that. It was really dumb, but...
Yeah, it definitely was kind of goofy.
He never played that one, and he's so mad now.
He's played all the rest, though?
He's played every Ratchet and Clank besides that one, yes.
I think that one was a free PlayStation Plus game.
I told him, I said that to him too. I was like, I think it might have been free on PS Plus a while back or something. He's like, I think it's on sale for whatever, so I'm just gonna get it right before the game comes out. So it's not a big deal. He's just annoyed though that like he now has to play that for the new
Why
one.
didn't he play it?
Because I don't know. Maybe he like thought it was dumb because it was supposed to kind of sort of be a remake of the first one. So I guess he didn't realize that it was like it was gonna like lead into a new series, and thought that like it was just a remake, and then
yeah.
I don't know, but I would think the same thing. Like if I had like recently played, if Resident Evil 2 didn't come out on the PlayStation 1, I probably never would have gotten the Resident Evil 2 remake, because like if it had come out on the PS3 and then this, I'd been like, well, I just played it, but because it's an alternate timeline, he now has to play it when wasn't expecting it to be.
Yeah. I also just double checked. It was a PS Plus game in March of 2018.
Damn.
Okay.
It was Ratchet and Clank and Bloodborne were the two PS4 titles.
I'm pretty sure I have it then, because I know I have the Bloodborne. I think I did download it, even though I already had Bloodborne.
He probably has it if he's been grabbing the PS Plus games.
I'm sure he does have it.
So this wasn't on the news thing, but I just kind of remembered it as we were talking. So 343 Studios, the folks who've been making Halo for the last 10 years-ish, they just brought Joseph Stanton in to help them not fuck that game. So I don't know if you guys are familiar. He was the creative lead for Halos 1 through Reach, as well as the original creative lead for Destiny. He left right around the time that they basically had to rebuild Destiny from the ground up.
Okay.
So he is the guy that's like super into like the world and the lore and all that of this stuff. I believe he actually even wrote at least one, maybe more of the Halo novels.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Drew, you might remember more so than Richie, because Richie doesn't really follow a lot of this stuff. And I think Jeff actually mentioned it on the Bombcast, now that I'm thinking about it. He was the guy, like, when press was going to, like, see Destiny pre-release, like, it having to get drastically altered. That was, like, all about, like, oh yeah, this world is full of lore, and, like, every gun has a story, and every story is different, and none of that could actually happen, and that ended up not being what the game was. But, yeah, he is probably the least likely to make sure that at least the narrative that they tell in this game is better.
Yeah.
But that also has to make you wonder, like, bringing this guy in to do this stuff, like, this late in the game, like, how big of a delay is Infinite going to have?
Probably quite a bit.
Yeah, so I just double checked. He is listed as, campaign project lead. So, he's probably got a lot to do with it, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, probably.
He has been with Microsoft since 2014, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like on September 24th, 2013 is when he left Bungie after being there from he was there back in the Marathon days.
Damn.
Also, holy shit! I just realized fucking Destiny came out 6 years ago.
Yep, sounds about right.
Wow. But yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with this, is this a 2022 game now?
Ooh, maybe.
Is there a whole extra year of development plus some?
I don't think Microsoft is going to want them to do that.
But they also don't want to put out a game that just gets more people on arguably their biggest franchise.
Yeah.
True, but I don't know.
They've only really got two big non-sort of let's call it sport related, because Forza is the other one, franchises, and that's Gears of War and Halo, and Halo is probably the bigger one. That is the one that I feel more people sort of know and play. Gears is big, but I feel it's not Halo big.
I agree.
And yeah, that's a holiday game. It is not coming out in June.
No.
It's a late October, early November release because they want people to buy it for Christmas. That's when they know they're going to get just massive sales on that game.
Yeah.
So at earliest, it's holiday 2021, so next year. But if they're bringing in somebody to help lead the project at this late in the game after delaying it, they showed the game, everyone was upset with what they showed. They delay it with no date, and then they hire a new project lead who was responsible for the original Halos that everyone loved. It's I feel that is adding at least a year to development, or at least an additional year to development.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. We're gonna have to just kind of wait and see, unfortunately. But it is crazy that they're bringing someone in this late in the game. And like I said, I don't think Microsoft's going to want them to hold back to holiday 2022 because they know that this is going to be their console seller. And right now it doesn't look like it is. So
I mean, it definitely isn't.
Well, yeah, now it definitely isn't because it's been delayed.
And plus, so if it goes to 2022, I think that will be 7 years between Halo games.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say 5 came out in 2015.
That sounds about right.
So it's already going to be 6 years, which isn't awful, but is a lot. When you look at every other, all the rest have had, I think, 3 to 4 years between them.
This just gives me more time to build up a PC so that I can use Games Pass to play Halo 5. That's all I hear.
Or just play it on Xbox. Look,
yeah.
Phil Spencer tells us all the time, Xbox is the best place to play games.
Yeah, sure. I could just play it on Xbox, but it's unhooked right now and it's over there.
God, you're just the worst.
It's not hooked up. I don't have any plug space because my fucking work made me plug in 2 monitors.
Just unhook all of Jensen's stuff.
Then she can't work.
That's not your problem.
Look.
You're not her boss.
No.
She's got a bedroom upstairs.
Yeah, but, I don't want them to blow a fuse up there with however much shit they already have plugged in, so.
Again, that's their problem.
Well, no, that's my problem because it's my fuses.
Wait, do you actually have a fuse, or do you have a circuit breaker?
I have a circuit breaker, but...
Okay. Look, you could have had fuses. Your house is old enough. It's possible.
I know. Trust me, I know.
Anyway, Drew, you played something called Gridiron, and I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's football?
Yes,
definitely football.
So, it's in an alpha right now. It's free to play on Steam. It's a new developer down in in the Carolinas. I forget if they're in North or South Carolina. But it is a 7-on-7 full multiplayer football game. So it's all human-controlled players. There are no set plays in the game. You pick a formation before the play, and then everyone just does whatever. So it's kind of like schoolyard football kind of thing.
Okay.
You might be starting the play as a quote-unquote offensive lineman, but you can still run out and go catch a pass. There's no rules against that.
So, if your offensive line just doesn't block, though, doesn't that just mean that you're going to get tackled?
Potentially.
But there's only one blitz per down, right?
No, everyone can blitz.
I was gonna say, do you have to count 5 Mississippis before you can blitz, or?
No, because you're allowed to block. But it's interesting. The passing is done in first person view, and you have to aim and account for the arc that the ball is going to take when you throw.
Does it give you a visual representation for all of that, or do you just have to account for it visually?
There's a crosshair when you're in the view to be able to throw it.
But it doesn't show you like a yellow line arced so that you know that if you throw the ball at this angle, it's going to land approximately where you need it to.
No, at least not right now. Although I haven't gone back in and tried the. Actually, no. When I was trying the, they added a new thing to the training, which will have you can pick a route for a bot to run for you to practice passing on that, and there was no arc shown on there. There is an indicator for where the ball will land when it's thrown now, which was not in it a month ago.
Okay, well, because that's what I was going to ask. If you're trying to throw a long pass, I'm assuming you kind of have to aim up so that the ball actually arcs, right?
Yep.
Because if you just throw it dead straight, it's only going to go as far as your arm can throw it.
Yeah.
So not knowing not having a ballpark of where it's going to land when you're just aiming up definitely makes it damn near impossible.
I mean, at first, yeah, but you learn it.
Okay.
This sounds like a nice take on the skill required to play football rather than it just being a football game.
Yeah, that's a way to put it. I mean, there. So as far as tackling goes, it's essentially it's playing two-hand touch. As soon as you touch the person with the ball, they're down. Mm-hmm. There's no tackle animations. There's no breaking tackle, breaking out of a tackle. There's a slide, which I am unsure why they went with that, but you can basically soccer style slide, either when running or playing on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how it evolves. Because like I said, it is when you load up, the first screen you see is them saying, "Hey, this is an alpha. We don't know how far we're going to go with it or not." But it seems to have a fairly decent community going on it. This is a game my brother and his friends were like, "Dude, you should get this and play with us." Mm-hmm. It runs like shit on my PC, but my PC 8 years old at this point or something like that.
Yeah. So
I have to turn the settings all the way down to get it to at least run at a smooth frame rate. So at least I can get it to that. On everything on low, I at least have a decent frame rate, and it is 100% playable on my 8-year-old PC.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's weird.
That's cool. It sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, if you like football, and especially if you have at least one other person you can play with, it's free. Try it. Why not? So at the very beginning of the game, you vote for which of the players you want to be the quarterback, and you can have a vote at any point throughout the game, so it's not like you'll jump in a game and just, oh shit, I've randomly been quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to be. And if for whatever reason you join a game with randoms and they all vote for you for quarterback, you can be like, no, and put someone else up to vote for quarterback. And it'll show people's stats on how many games they've played, and especially at this point, you'll see, oh, this person's played a lot of quarterback, vote for them to play quarterback.
Okay. Nice.
That does actually sound like a pretty cool way to do a football game, though.
Yeah, it's it is not Madden in any way, shape, or form, but there is in-game voice chat, so whoever's playing quarterback can say, "Hey, you just run a quick slant route," and if you know football, you know what that means, or they can just say, "Just go long," and I'm just gonna chuck it or whatever.
Yeah, if you can get a full team of 7 together and be like, all right, let's set up our plays, and you can actually make a play. This is what I guess I kind of want in e-gaming is something like this when it comes to sports games.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely the most just kind of pick up and play it, and figure it out as a team together.
Yeah. But, yeah, I meant esports, not e-gaming, obviously. But, like a I want to see, I don't want to see the Madden tournaments. I want to see a Gridiron tournament now. Like, where you need 14 on 14, you have to have your place set up and everything like that. I think that would be friggin' awesome.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rich, you've been playing Avengers.
Yep. So I paid the extra $10 on PlayStation to get it 3 days early, plus a couple of, like, cosmetic stuff that's not a big deal, but I got to play it 3 days early, which is really kind of all I wanted out of it. And it is exactly the way I thought it was going to be. It's fun. It's enjoyable games. The story so far is what you saw in the beta, what we talked about in the beta, so there's nothing really new. I, just unlocked Black Widow, before, I started doing other stuff. And so I just now, for the first time in 6-7 hours, have 4 players, or 4 characters with me at all times.
So what is it? It's Kamala, Banner, Iron Man, and Black Widow?
Yes. And I'm probably going to be heading to the mission soon where I do get Thor soon. I don't know how long. But overall, I'm enjoying it. There's a ton of things that weren't in the beta, obviously, that are in this. A lot more customization options with with each of the characters, their abilities. Apparently, at one point you can select specialties with their supers, with their special powers. So, you can either pick the left tree, the right tree, or the middle tree, but you can't have all 3 active at once, I guess. I'm not really sure how that works, because I haven't gotten to that point. I haven't leveled up a character that far yet. Before we recorded, I was playing a little bit, and I was just getting all my characters to the same power level. So they're all mid to late 20s at this point. But, I think my highest character level is 7 or 8. So, I still have a long way to go, because there's so many, upgrades and ability upgrades that I can get. I'm liking Iron Man now more than before in the beta, because he has, he now has the repulsor rays, lasers, and missiles that he can use, that you can switch between. And, just his different abilities are I'm understanding them more now, because I was able to play into it. And it's had a bunch of good moments with each of the solo characters where, initially you do the bridge scene, which we've all seen a million times, and then you play as Kamala for a little bit, just one-on-one in Jersey City, and then you go do the mission with her and Banner going to the archive and fighting Abomination, and then, you do a couple of more things that were also in the beta, and then you go find Tony, and his mission was cool because he doesn't have a full set of armor made with him. He's just basically living on this plot of land his family has owned forever, and has some armor laying around. So you end up running around with, gloves and boots, and just a fighter pilot helmet on his head, because that's all he had lying around the house.
Okay.
Yeah, it was only that one mission, and then he has a few solo missions where he has to get parts so that he can fix up the ship so that he can make a new set of armor. I think it's really only one solo mission. But it is getting to the point where, there are character-specific missions where they push you to play as this one specific character, but the rest of the team comes with you. Code Green from the beta that I don't know if you did, Cobb. I've done that one, and I've done one for Black Widow right now.
No, so I didn't do the extra missions, because, I saw the Hulk one, the Code Green, and I didn't want to play a thing with the Hulk, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to play as the Hulk, but, you get more stuff if you play as the Hulk in some of those missions. And same with, the Black Widow one. You don't have to play as Black Widow. You can matchmake and have people come in, but there can only be one of each hero, so, whoever's playing as Black Widow is going to get extra stuff, because it's Black Widow's mission. But
yeah, remember the whatchamacallit, the weekend that I played, I couldn't matchmake. It kept failing.
Right, yeah, but you don't. Oh, I almost dropped my phone. You don't have to matchmake. You can play solo, which like I've said before we started recording, I have not done any matchmaking for this game, and there have been 2 instances where I haven't been able to do like a side objective on a map, and that was because like I was running around as Widow or Iron Man, who don't have the ability to break down walls. And then I guess there might have been instances if I were playing as Hulk or as Marvel, where I wouldn't have been able to shoot things from afar to be able to finish side objective. But it was like, they weren't like, it's not widespread where I can't do everything. It's just on occasion there's a few things you might not be able to do. But that's like not a big deal because I'm already still doing like 6 or 7 side objectives on each map before I go through the game itself. And each time I'm getting more and more armor or upgradable equipment. I just got my first couple pieces of gold armor for the Hulk. So it goes green, like a white, bluish, purple, and then gold, I guess. And like green and blue have only 1 extra ability. Purple has 2, and gold has 3. I don't know if it goes higher than that. That's just as far as I've gotten.
Okay.
I've unlocked all the, I've unlocked the, shield agents to get reputation with them, and I've unlocked the, Inhumans to get reputation with them, and it's just basically every day go to their person, grab the daily objectives, and then play the game, and you'll eventually get them done, because it's like, kill this many of this creature, or this many of this enemy, and once you do that so many times, you go to the vendor for that, what's the term?
Faction.
Faction, that's it. You go to the vendor for that faction, and they give you the rewards for it. So it gives you like those daily objectives that you can do along with playing the game. I don't know what end game's like because I don't think I'm anywhere near the ending yet. I think I'm at least 6 hours from the ending, if not more.
Oh, wow.
I think, Cobb, you said it's like a 12-ish hour game?
So I saw today that somebody posted on a Facebook group that they beat the game.
Okay.
Today. And when somebody asked, like, how long was the story, they said probably about 10 to 12 hours. It seems like they just, like, mainlined the story and didn't do anything side story, and then they said they're going back to do all of that stuff now.
Okay. How long to beat doesn't even have...
Because it's only a day old. Yeah. And even then, it hasn't even... It's not widely out yet.
Yeah. Not a lot of people have done it. But, like, I've been playing consistently from, like today, I think I started playing at, like, 11 and stopped at 4 to take a break and then played again from 5:30 to 6. And, overall, I'm having a good time and a good experience playing it. There have been a few, like, little glitchy instances that, like, I don't really know why these have happened. Like, I'll hit the bar to open up my menu, and there won't be a cursor in my menu.
That's weird.
So I have to close out and open it back up, and there'll be a cursor. Or, I did blue screen once. The game crashed on that, Iron Man mission I was talking to you about, which made me really annoyed because it was halfway through the mission. So it's like, fuck, I'm gonna have to redo this whole first half of the mission. Once I loaded the game back in, it brought me right back to right where it crashed. So luckily it had just auto-saved, which was nice.
And that is actually cool.
But my health bar and all the enemies' health bars did not load in. And I couldn't figure out how to load them in.
So was everybody just unbeatable?
No, they were taking damage and dying. But the health bars weren't showing above their head, and neither was mine.
Huh.
Yeah. There were a few times where, like, I had access to, like, certain players' abilities, but their icons weren't showing at the bottom of the screen, so I didn't know I could use them, so I didn't try to use them. Like there's so much, it's kind of glitchy. It is kind of glitchy, and there was a day 1 update yesterday when I went to go play it. I don't remember how big it was, but it took me about a half hour, 45 minutes to download and install. Trying to think there's occasionally my character will just get stuck on the ground. I'll have to jump to get unstuck. But it's not like super often, but it happens often enough to where I recognize it and have noted it down and this is kind of like, what are you doing here? But like, it's not game breaking because it's just a quick X and he jumps away and it works. But overall, it's a nice paced game. Very interesting to see how the story is going to fully play out. Obviously, I'm not going to get Cap until the end of the game because that's how the story was. And Cap was really fun to play as in the beginning, so...
Oh, I didn't realize that's actually how they were doing it.
I mean, I'm assuming that's how it's gonna be, because he's dead at the beginning. He, quote, dies at the beginning of the game, so, like, he's probably gonna be the last character you unlock, and it's probably gonna be close to the end when you unlock him.
You know, that seems accurate. I don't disagree with that.
Because, like I said, I'm 6 hours in, and I just unlocked Black Widow. I'm like 6 to 8 hours in, and I just unlocked Black Widow, and I still haven't gotten Thor yet. And I'm in the middle of basically the war with AIM, and we're gonna, like, let the world know what AIM is doing at this point. And I still don't have all the characters. But, like, I'm not mad, like, I'm not surprised. I figured, like, it was gonna be a slow release of all the characters. I'm super interested to see how, like, Spider-Man and Kate Bishop, who they announced yesterday, or the day before.
They announced Spider-Man a while ago.
Well, Spider-Man a while ago. Kate Bishop, they announced, like, within the past few days.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the way you said that.
I'm very interested to see how they're both gonna play. Especially Spider-Man, because, like, with his web swinging, like, if I can't run around as Spider-Man just web swinging all over the place, I'm not gonna be happy. Because that's what Spider-Man does. He just thwips all over the place. But yeah, it has its issues, but they're not terrible, and they're not, like, making me hate the game. I like the customization options so far that I've unlocked. This game makes me realize how much I need an upgraded PlayStation, because it gets, like, the frame rate drops quite a bit when there's a lot going on.
Well, good news. There's a new PlayStation coming out in just a few months, maybe.
Yeah, but will I be able to just port my version over to that one? I can't remember. I haven't looked it up, but I think they said I can. I can't remember.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll at least be able to play the PS4 version of it on there.
Well, yeah, and that's fine, because that's all. Like, I just need something that plays this better, because, like, it gets bad sometimes. How, like, choppy the camera goes, and I'm assuming it's from my PlayStation. And even, I mean, like
it could just be not a very well optimized game in general.
It's also, like, I had similar issues when I was playing Final Fantasy with, like, the rendering, textures being rendered in Final Fantasy VII, and how it takes forever or just doesn't render that well at all, and it looks shitty. That I don't know if you guys had experienced the same issues. That, like, I think it's just my base version of the PlayStation. I don't know if you both have a base PlayStation.
I mean, I did not notice any of that in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I literally have a launch day PS4.
So do I.
I have a Slim, and I didn't have any problems, which they're not more powerful, but it is newer.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I'm hoping it's just a PlayStation. But, like, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I like it. I can't wait to see more people play, or can't wait to, like, dive into the more community aspect of the game, because when you load up, it gives you an option. Campaign, or whatever, I can't remember what it's entitled, but whatever, like, the post-campaign stuff. Like, you have two options to enter into, and, like, when you hover over the other one, it says this is for post-game multiplayer content. Or post-campaign multiplayer content. So, like, I'm interested to see what that stuff is, but I want to get through the campaign first. And I, like, from what it seems, each of the characters are gonna come with some sort of story-based content for them. At least a mission or two. So, like, I want to see how they bring in these new characters. Or are they just gonna be like, here's a new character, and boom, you can just play as them?
Maybe a little bit of both. They might just bring them in, you can play as them, but they'll also have a mission you can go do for them to maybe, like, unlock, like, something early on.
Yeah. I am a little bummed out at the fact that, Hawkeye isn't in it.
Yet.
I mean, Kate Bishop is gonna be released.
So is soon. Clint. They already announced Clint was coming.
Did they announce Clint? Because
I know July.
I know he has, like, they have an image of him in the archive right at the early part of the game, And
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple weeks ago.
He also has his own room on the Chimera.
Yeah, they announced Clint back in July.
Okay, I couldn't
They
remember.
announced Clint before they announced Kate.
But Kate's coming first.
I don't know for sure.
No, Kate is coming, like, Kate, they have release trailers for Kate already.
I think they had a trailer for Clint, too.
Did they?
I am 90% sure. I didn't watch it, but I remember seeing things about it.
I'll have to look back again.
Like I said, this was back in, like, July, so... But I don't know what their release schedule is for characters anyway.
Yeah, they've only announced one thing for characters so far. And that's that each of them are going to have a $10 battle pass.
Yeah, which isn't that bad. So it's only the additional characters.
Yes.
Like the core team that's in the game at start. They're what's it called? It's their hero challenge cards. It's really what this is for.
Yeah.
The base game heroes all come with them. You don't have to pay anything. The additional heroes that you're getting for free have a $10 pass for the premium cosmetics to unlock. So, like, directly from IGN's article, it says, one of the biggest ways to earn a ton of cosmetics is through the hero challenge cards. Each card has 40 tiers of free and premium rewards that are earned by challenge points gained from completing daily and weekly challenges. The premium hero challenge card rewards for all 6 starting heroes will be activated for free for all who own Marvel's Avengers. All post-launch characters' premium hero challenge cards, however, will cost $10, which is 1,000 credits in the game, to activate them.
Yeah.
If you complete the entire card, you will earn back your 1,000 credits, though. So, I don't know if that counts for the base, like your 6 base ones. I'm assuming it does because it says that you could earn 12,500 credits worth of content.
Well, I mean...
no, I think that 12,500 credits worth of content means your rewards, along with the $1,000 credit from completing it, can equal up to $12,500 of content.
So, not dollars, they're credits.
Right, that's what I mean, though. Like,
yeah, no, I just want to be clear, like, nothing costs $12,000.
No, I meant credits. So, like, you spend $10, you could potentially get $125. $125 worth of content for that $10, and potentially get your 1,000 credits back and use them on the next person.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, and if you can earn credits completing the base hero challenge cards, you never have to spend real money at all.
Yeah. I spent 10 extra bucks to play the game 3 days early. Guess what I also got with that? 1,000 credits.
Yeah, so right now, like, you spent the $10 extra to play early. When the first post-launch character comes out, you can buy their challenge card right away. Mm-hmm. And if you complete it, you can then buy the next challenge card.
Which, I mean, I haven't really dabbled too much into the challenge cards, but like I said, like, you can go check your challenges, and there are daily challenges you can complete, which, completing them, you go into that specific character, and you can, like, use those points that you got for completing that daily challenge on one of those challenges. And it gives you, like, an envelope, or, like, a character, tag, or a skin, or here's resources to upgrade your equipment. It's a bunch of stuff.
I thought all of the challenge card stuff was strictly cosmetic.
Not the hero challenge, not the challenge cards that I have for the base heroes. Some of them are resources to upgrade your equipment and stuff.
Maybe the ones that you get for the additional characters are different then. Because everything they were saying was it was cosmetics only. And I feel like resources to upgrade are definitely not cosmetics.
And I'll say there's almost zero chance you don't have to somehow pay at least $10 once to get the Battle Pass level stuff.
Well, yeah. If you didn't spend the extra $10 to get the game a few days early, or get those extra credits by getting any of the like special editions, yeah. If you just got the base game that comes out on Friday, and you want to get these, you're most likely going to have to spend $10 to get one of these.
Yeah, and like really, that's not bad.
No,
and it's all cosmetics, so it doesn't have any impact on the game. It's only if you want your characters to look a certain way, and it's more than one possible cosmetic too. Whereas like Apex Legends, I think something I was listening to said it's $20 per skin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's a free game, but like if you buy 3 skins, you have now spent the cost of a game.
How much is a character in Apex?
They are. I mean, I haven't spent real money on any of the characters, but I think they're $10 a character if you spend real money.
Yeah,
they might be $5. I don't remember. You easily earn enough credits to unlock the characters for free. Like, if they released 5 new characters right now, I'd have more than enough of the currency that literally, I mean, basically it's only good for unlocking characters, like, right now. And,
yeah,
you know.
It seems like this will be similar, though. Like, after your initial $10, like, it doesn't seem like it'll be that hard to just keep buying more upgrades.
No, it seems like a very reasonable way they're doing this. This game, like, they've gone out and said it right from the beginning. All post-game, all new content besides cosmetics are going to be free for this game. Characters included. And I know the internet was in an uproar because they read the fucking headlines and not the full articles of this shit. But, like, they're doing this in the most cost-effective way possible. You're getting your free character. If you want $125 worth of free cosmetics, spend $10 fucking and do these challenge cards.
And or it's the least shitty way that they could do it when asking for more money. Like, they could very easily just go, oh yeah, you know, $15 per skin.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want, like, the classic, Miss Marvel outfit, like Kamala's, like, original outfit? Yeah, $20. Oh, you want the Mark 1 Iron Man armor? $25.
There's nothing saying they aren't also going to do that.
But they're giving other options for it, is what I mean.
Well, sure. There's almost certainly going to be certain costumes that they're going to be like, oh no, you want this costume, $50.
Well, yeah, there's no telling what these challenge cards are actually, like, what costumes and cosmetics these challenge cards are actually going to give you. But it's not necessarily going to give you the suit you want. But after completing 40 of them, there's a chance that one of them might have been. You can go through the card and see if it's something that you want, that you want to, like, try to achieve for. There's 40 different fucking tasks. Like, you have to do one by one, so you have to do number 1 to do number 2, and so on and so forth. But, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be, like, the Avengers Endgame Iron Man suit that people might want to use. They're just gonna make you pay for it. That's fine. But, like, at least it's not fucking loot crates. And at least this gets you a decent amount of money worth of cosmetics if that's what you're after. I'm not after. I spent $70 on this game. I'm happy. I'm not going for other shit.
See, whereas, like, I'm looking forward to Black Friday when it's, like, $25 and I can just play the story and then never touch it again.
Yeah. But, like, I'm going to get more into the multiplayer, which you aren't, so.
Yeah, no, because multiplayer is awful. You know what? Multiplayer isn't bad. People on the internet are awful, which then makes multiplayer awful.
Yes.
Like, playing with strangers is the worst way to play games.
Yeah, can be.
I mean, it's not so much can be, it is. Like, people suck.
Yeah.
They're just the worst. But, yeah, so, moving along from that, real quick, this is not on the dock either. But I just saw a little while ago, Mandalorian Season 2 premiere date was confirmed. It's going to start airing on October 30th.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Gives me some time to watch it.
Did you ever get Disney Plus?
I never did, but somebody gave me their password, and I still haven't logged into it.
Sounds
but
like you.
I think their year might be up soon, so I might have to log in soon.
Yeah. Instead, you watched Friends 4 times, I bet.
No, I haven't watched Friends at all this year, because I can't watch Friends because it's not on Netflix anymore, and fuck Universal.
Isn't Friends on HBO Max?
I thought it was on Peacock.
No, Office is going to Peacock.
Office is on Peacock. Maybe it is.
But it's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's still on Netflix.
Maybe Friends is on HBO Max, but no. I after the last time I watched Friends, I was like, those people suck. And, like, I used to think of it as nostalgic, and now I'm just like, these people suck. There's much better stuff out there.
There definitely is. Anyway, so I purchased Ori and the Blind Forest on the Switch this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It was on sale. The there was like I just happened to look on the Switch store, and I like looked at sales stuff, and it was near the top, and I'm just like, that's a good game. I liked what I played on Xbox, but it's not the sort of game that I want to play on a console like that. It's the perfect game for a handheld like the Switch. Mm-hmm. 'Cause it's one of those just incredibly challenging platformers.
Yeah.
Where like you're gonna die all the fucking time. I think the last time I looked at the counter, I had close to 300 deaths, and I'm like 4 hours into the game. Mm-hmm. But like you guys have seen Ori before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like very pretty game, really good music, really cool level designs and all that. And it's been a lot of fun to just be able to I bring it upstairs when I start working, and I kind of just have it like my Switch sitting on my desk. And like if I'm like between doing stuff or like waiting for something, like I'll pick it up and like I'll take like 3 or 4 attempts at like whatever section I'm on. And like if I get through it, awesome. I hope I have like energy to save. If I don't have energy to save, I then curse and move forward very slowly and hope that there is a spot that will give me energy to save. Mm-hmm. 'Cause basically the way that game works is you have 2 different bars. You have your life bar, and you have like your energy bar, which your energy bar is used for 2 things. It's used to do like a charge explosion attack, and it's used to save the game and be able to upgrade your skills.
Okay.
So, saving the game, like, as long as there's not an enemy or something dangerous, like, happening at that exact moment, you can just hold the A button in. It creates a save spot, basically right where you're at. You can keep running back to that one to save until you make a new one. And if you just hit A in front of it, it loads up the skill tree so that if you have skill points to spend, you can spend them.
Okay.
There's a handful of, like, natural save points in the world that actually refill your health and everything, and energy too. But because it's a sort of game where, like, you might have to, like, try the same, like, set of obstacles, 24 times before, like, you get, like, the timing and pattern down right, that you'll want to save frequently, especially if, like, it's an area with obstacles and enemies. Because a lot of times it comes down to, like, basically bouncing off the enemies to get around an obstacle. Mm-hmm. And, like, the timing on that can be super tight, because if an enemy just happens to not do something the way you need it to do it, you're not going to be able to get, like, the right angle or the right height to get to the next section.
Yeah.
Or if you just don't have energy, like, if your health is low and, like, you get clipped by something, there's a good chance it might just kill you and you're just going back to your last save point anyway. And if that was a long time ago, you're going to be real pissed.
Yeah.
Like the end of, it's broken up into at least 3 areas, I believe. Like, you basically are trying to, like, revive the forest. And the first one is you're trying to bring water back to, like, this one spirit tree thing. And the final part of that, like, escaping out of the tree and, like, climbing up everything, was probably one of the most stressful experiences in a game I can remember. It took me probably an hour to get the whole thing down right, just because of all, like, I'd get through a section and, like, get that section down really well, and then I'd get to the next section and have to figure out, like, the best way to get through that, while, like, this water is coming up, and if the water comes up all the way, you die because you drown, basically.
Yeah.
But there's also enemies and other obstacles that you're trying to, like, what is the best way to sort of get through this without getting hit by the enemies and dying also? And, like, some of the stuff relies on the enemies sort of, like, attacking you or doing stuff, because one of the abilities you get is, you can use an enemy or an enemy's like, projectile attack as, like, a rocket point. So, if you don't get hit by them, and you hit the button and hold it at the right timing, you'll, like, kind of, like, latch onto it, and then you can pick a direction to shoot yourself off in. And the cool thing with that is it also shoots whatever the thing is that you latched onto in the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. So you can actually use it to, like, take out enemies, by, like, throwing them against spikes to, like, instant kill them, or throwing their attack back at them.
Yeah.
But, like, doing that through, like, this, like, basically timed maze, because you have to do it as the water is rising very quickly, and relying on, like, alright, well, I need to get in just the right spot so this enemy will actually fire their fucking thing at me, can be super frustrating, because, like, if it just doesn't trigger right, you basically just have to take the death and start it over.
Yeah.
But once you get it, you feel super accomplished.
Nice.
Yeah. That's why I like those games. I like those really hard, just, like, platformers, because you get that you get that feeling of accomplishment, at least when the controls are good.
Yeah.
And like Ori has very tight controls. Like everything in that game feels very good and deliberate.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's great on Switch. I highly recommend it, especially because you can just, if you have the regular Switch, you can hop back and forth. If you want to play it on like your TV, you can. If you want to just take it off and play it handheld, you can.
Yeah. I freaking love the Switch.
Yeah, and it's literally been the game that that's why I haven't touched Animal Crossing in so long, because I'm not always at a save spot for it, or I don't always have energy to save it. So I might play for 10 minutes and be like, all right, I need to just stop for a little while. So I just put the Switch to sleep, put it to the side, and then 15 minutes later I pick it back up and try again.
Yeah.
And at any other way, I'd have to just either just keep banging my head against it until I was so frustrated that I just stopped playing entirely, or stop playing the game and then have to turn the console back on and go through all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest, good game.
Nice.
And then you added this last thing to the doc that said super secret news.
Yes. So Capcom had their final dev diary for Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
So it's not actually something we'll be excited about.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
I'll re-say it. Capcom had their final dev diary for Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
Yeah, but that's not the final thing for Monster Hunter ever.
It is.
Did they say Monster Hunter is never happening again? Fuck all of you?
No, but at least for probably the next year and a half to 2 years, you're probably not going to hear anything Monster Hunter from me. Or at least Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Because they are launching their last creature, their last monster, which is Fatalis, has been in every numbered Monster Hunter game, or every core Monster Hunter title, or its upgrade, with the exception of Monster Hunter 3, because fuck that game. And he is the ultimate big final boss that they usually release as the last creature for each of these games.
So World is considered a core game then?
I would assume so.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I mean, it is. It should be, now that it is Capcom's highest selling game ever. It should be a core game. But yeah, I would assume that it is part of the core series. Actually, one of the characters one of the characters that they're gonna have in this is a character from a previous game. So yes, it is part of the core titles. But he is a big, dark, evil dragon. He always gets fought in a specific battle arena that they're building up to be in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So it's a whole area that you've never been in before in this game. It comes out in October. But they have some seasonal events starting off this week for the next couple of weeks leading up to Fatalis. But yeah, it is Monster Hunter World Iceborne is basically done. No more new updates besides your seasonal events from here on from October on. No more new content updates.
I mean, I'd be more excited if they just announced that Monster Hunter was canceled.
That's not going to happen.
I know, but I'm just saying I'm really not excited that it's the final diary for it. Because now you're going to talk about it when this stupid fucking monster actually comes out now.
No, because I'm probably not going to play it. I barely.
You're the worst Monster Hunter fan ever.
I don't have people to play this game with anymore, so I want to try it, but I barely played the last two that they put in there, and with so much stuff having had come out that I've been playing, especially with Avengers now, I don't know if I'm going to get around to playing it for a while. But he's got some awesome armor sets and things like that, and I'm super interested in trying it eventually, and maybe in October I'll have the time to play it. But I mean, this is the last Monster Hunter news, guys. At least I'd say at least a year and a half to 2 years.
I don't know. This is Capcom. They're probably gonna put it out on the next gen consoles.
So yes, there will most likely be a new Monster Hunter game coming out next gen consoles.
No. I mean, this is Capcom. They're gonna put Monster Hunter World and the expansion. Probably announce a new expansion on the consoles next year.
The thing is, when we got our quote final update for Monster Hunter World, we had already known about Iceborne. Iceborne was announced a year prior to it coming out, or 6 months prior to it coming out. I think it was this September is the 1-year anniversary of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. They would have.
Iceborne was treated as like an actual expansion, right? Like it cost an extra like $30 or something.
I think it was an extra $30. It came out a year and a half after Monster Hunter came out. So a year and a half after this would be March. We would have a new expansion coming if they were doing that. They would have announced it by now. They have not announced anything. They have not said anything. In the thing, they even did like a whole like a look back over the past 3 years of Monster Hunter World type of thing. Like, this was their final dev diary for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So yes, there is a chance that they could maybe, in the next couple of months, announce a new thing that, like, we can, push all our games up to next gen. But if they're gonna just release Monster Hunter World Fireborn, or whatever, I don't know what they're gonna call it next, and you need to buy the entire game on next gen in order to play it, and you can't upgrade your game, then I'm just gonna say fuck it, I'm not gonna play it.
Tokyo Game Show is in 3 weeks.
So what if, Rich, what if they do announce like a new expansion? It's just $60 to get it, and it includes the base game so you can play the expansion.
If I can transfer my character over, then maybe. If I can't transfer my character and progress over, then fuck it, no.
I mean, if it's on PlayStation, you definitely can't.
Yeah.
Xbox, probably.
Yeah, so it's, like, I don't see them releasing a new expansion, and I see them doing a new version in 2 years. They usually release something every year, and this, in 2020, or 2021, I guess, or sometime from here, like, in 2021, they will release some sort of, like, Monster Hunter offshoot, which they do, like Monster Hunter Stories or whatever, that I generally don't play. And I'm seeing 2022 they'll have some sort of new Monster Hunter World.
You know, I mean, you obviously follow this more than I do, but I would say kind of like what Drew said, like, it's Capcom for one, and you said it's their highest selling game. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to push something more in line with the main series much sooner, just to capitalize on people getting next-gen consoles, and not, like you said, like, not just reselling Monster Hunter World again because people are either playing it on PC or have the PS4 version.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily want to play all of that again. But, you know, like, I could see, like, a next, like, this time next year, them launching something and, like, revealing it, like Drew said, maybe at, like, Tokyo Game Show.
I mean, yeah, at best, we would get one next year, at this time next year. But I don't see it coming out until at least March of 2022.
Yeah, which, I mean, like I said, like, you are more likely to call that one just because, like, you actually follow along with this, but Capcom is very, like, oh, well, if it sells well, we have to sell more of them.
Yeah, why do you think we're getting another version of Resident Evil 4?
Well, that's what I was going to say, like, look at Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
Like, they pumped out remakes because the first remake sold well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I think, is going to be a show.
It is.
Good. So, if you guys would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. If you'd like to help us out by supporting us, you can go over to patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platforms, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. Subscribe to us, review us, rate us, all that stuff. It all helps. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline, or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.